Hello and welcome to the Scott Fishbowl 12 live from Metropolis draft here. We're about to kick things off here in about 15 minutes live on Sirius XM Fantasy Radio. We got Mike Florio. He's kind of going to host things over there, so make sure you're tuning in right now. Everything going on. So 3:15 Eastern, 1:15 Mountain, and everything in between. You're going to want to catch that when you get an opportunity. But joining me right now, we've got a good portion of the league set up here right now. We got FF's Coach Dan. We got Pierre Wilson there. Wee 31. We got Calvin K there. Calvin _SGF. We got Debbie Matt joining us. And, of course, the very attractive Doug Orth. How you doing, Doug?
I'm wonderful. Thanks, guys.
Oh, and we can't talk about beauty here without bringing in Shane is the worst. So Shane, he's going to kick off. He's got the 101 for our Metropolis division. He says he's already got it, but I think he's going to kind of hold us in suspense here until we get there. Now, one thing to know here, if you're watching us, it is a 1-minute shot clock. So these picks are going to be coming in fast and furious as they go. Shane, have you kind of thought about what you're planning on doing? You've got to get narrowed down to 2-3 guys.
I got to narrow down to one guy.
You got it down to one. You've got the one guy. He's set. He's ready to go. Anyone else have any kind of preference? Number 102, anything? We got any idea what Shane's going to do?
I heard he's taking a kicker. That's the word on the streets.
Well, it was good. Hey, I heard that too. I mean, Justin Tucker, he's still available here right off the kick. So, I mean, Shane loves himself kickers.
Shane is the worst. So, kicker is probably the move here.
I heard there was a $20 bet going on that he was going to take a kicker first pitch.
Nah, definitely a kicker.
Has anyone here been paying attention to what's been going on in some of these other live drafts, some of these other mock drafts heading into this one right now? Any kind of surprises that they've seen so far? Coach Dan.
Probably the biggest surprise I've seen in a couple mocks was Jalen Hurts going number 1. And I don't know if they were just experimenting. Those mocks, everyone kind of tries out some different strategies and theories, but that was the one big surprise that stood out to me.
What about you, Pierre?
Well, I think so. Minneapolis just started, and Mahomes fell to 6. So if you guys want to let Mahomes fall to 6, I won't have any complaints. But that's the biggest surprise that I've seen so far.
Well, Mahomes isn't. No one likes Mahomes anymore. He's just not that good, from what I understand. From what I've been told.
He's awful. Yeah. No Tyreek. Just pass away.
That's been your scouting, Shane?
Yeah, apparently he's just a check down Charlie now. That's what I've been told.
Well, I did see something other. He actually had a better completion percentage with his left hand than Tua Tagovailoa did. So, I mean, there's that stat that we can kind of throw out there as well.
There's quarterbacks with no hands that have better completion percentages than Tua.
Wow.
You're doing Tua dirty on that one there, Shane. That's Shane's first pick, by the way. Just you watch.
You guys are making fun of my 6th round pick here. Stop it, please.
So anyone who's watching it right now, so this is and I use this term very loosely, especially when we talk about this group here right now, except maybe the exception of Ray Flowers and Drew Davenport, who are coming in a little bit later, and then obviously Fantasy Mojo. I mean, there's 11 analysts in this group, and then Jonathan down the bottom right corner there, kind of hamming it up. I don't know, sandbagging it maybe, kind of going, oh, look at all these analysts in here. I mean, we've all heard this. I mean, Jonathan's given a little bit too much praise to the rest of this group right now. I think he's going to kind of come in there and kind of cut underneath us in all these picks. What do you think there, Calvin?
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, that's all I've been hearing from you is just constantly, whoa, 11 analysts, guys, look at this. Look at how I'm the only one. I don't know. I mean, I'm expecting a strong draft coming from you.
That's how you set up an underdog story. You got to do the backstory and then overcoming adversity. I got somebody who's the worst. I got a 16-year-old phenom here. I mean, it's an uphill battle, but I'm going to try my best. So you're saying don't take Tua at 3 because that's where I was going.
I mean, go ahead. I need all the quarterbacks I can to drop to 10. Do whatever you want, but
Gotcha.
Well, you want to
looking good around that turn. There's going to be a lot of guys down there to pick from, I bet.
Yeah, absolutely.
John, you want to build that unique team. Like, who else is going to start with Tua? That's what I'm thinking, right?
That's right. I'm going to stack it, Tua, Gesicki, and then the kicker, and that's going to be it for me. Who'd we just get? Mojo, what's up?
And Drew Davenport.
Hey, how's it going?
How we doing?
How we doing?
There we go. We got 10 of the 12 guys here that are competing right now. I kind of dig the old Fancy Mojo black and white with the championship belt just for us all to kind of gaze upon there from the King's Classic, just kind of taunting us. Now, Drew, I know you've got your King's Classic championship belt there somewhere, right?
Yes, sir. How's everybody doing? Yeah, I got them over here set up for my TikTok background, so it's, multi-purpose here. But yes, I have them back here.
Were we ever able to convince Scott into turning this into an auction draft? Was that able to do, or are you just going to make me bid up on players I don't want?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are doing an auction. I don't know if you guys knew that.
I was trying to get him to throw some IDP in here, just to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, Shane loves IDP.
Yeah. No, auction would be fun. We'd have to start in 3 months ago. But auction would be fun.
They do eliminator auction drafts, though, don't they? So
do they? Probably.
Yeah, I think there's a couple
little
of those.
bit.
Yeah, they do IDP eliminators too.
I'm having TV envy of that background there, Drew. That's pretty hot, man.
I
And
know
then Mojo,
Yeah.
Mojo, I'm curious what hockey team you got back there. Who those sticks belong to?
It's the Flyers sticks from they're back in the day. One's a Chris Therien stick, and the other one, I think it's just an autographed team stick, but it's basically mid-'90s guys.
I'm a
So that's
Rangers
all Philly
fan,
here.
so it's a little hard for me, but mad respect for the setup. I think you and Shane, the Philly fans over there, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Flyers were fun in the '90s, at least when LeClaire and Lindros were there, and Renberg.
Those were the glory years. The crazy eights.
Yep.
Never panned out for anything, though. Just lost hopes.
Well, I mean, they made it to the Cup the one year. They just got their doors completely blown off, but at least they made it, right? It's Philly. That's as close as we usually get to a championship, is losing in the finals.
That's tradition. We get close and they rip your heart out at the last minute, but we got one with the Eagles, so that'll hold us over. Once in a while, they throw us a bone.
That's it, and that's all we get for the rest of our life.
So just a quick rundown here. We got Shane at 101. We got Ray Flowers at 102. Jonathan's got 103. Debbie Matt at 104. We got Coach Dan there at 105. Pierre Wilson at 106. Doug Orth at 107. Myself at 108. Drew Davenport at 109. Kelvin there at 110. Fantasy Mojo 111. And Eric Romoff there, he's coming in at 112 there on the back end of things. Has anyone actually seen where the back end of the draft pays off, especially with that third round reversal? Is that something that guys at the back end of the draft have they really been focusing on? I'm trying to look around. Darren there, what did you think about that? Because you went with that 11th pick.
I mean, whether it pays off or not, I mean, historically in this format, I don't know. I like getting that extra premium player, what's that, the 26th pick. So you're going to get the 23rd and then 26th pick. So, I mean, just for me, looking at like where the tiers start dropping off, I want to take advantage of that. But then party's over after that.
Yeah, I'm kind of with
I
there.
think-
I was at the one pick last year, and if you don't plan things out, not that I didn't plan things out last year, but it's just being in a good position for the runs, and especially when you get that, just like Darren said, you get the whip around there, you can double tap on a position and pretty much square that position away. That's a nice advantage to have.
I'm
I
kind of
think
surprised.
Husker here is leaking.
Last
Husker here is leaking Shane's draft pick here right now.
Uh-oh.
Pitch 101.
Look, I made a first-round draft pick that was based on charity a couple of years ago, and as fun as it was in the moment, not so much during the regular season when I'm like, all right, this was fun. When can I cut Matt Barkley now? So, no, it will not be Kyle Pitts. On the Potathon last night when I was hosting for a couple hours, everyone completely talked me out of it, so thank you for that. It was like an intervention, so I appreciate that.
For those who are watching right now that don't know, there was a guy a couple of years ago that drafted Matt Barkley instead of Saquon Barkley in the first round of the Scott Fish Bowl, and Shane jumped in all over that and said anyone who can make the playoffs with Matt Barkley as their first round selection, he's going to donate some money to it or something. Shane, I think that's what it was, wasn't it?
Yep, and one other guy took me up on it. We both made the playoffs, but look, hey, we had big cojones. We were willing to do it. course, we didn't win because we had Matt Barkley as a starting quarterback. So, but we still made the playoffs. It's all for fun, right?
Okay, well, we're about 4 minutes away from kicking this off there. I know, Fantasy Mojo, you were about to say something there before I cut you off like 3 times.
I was just saying, like, I mean, it's the second or third year that we've done third round reversal, but it seemed last year people were still like ignoring that and like going for the McCaffrey pick, like regardless. It's like, because when you get to pick your own slot, and I noticed like people were grabbing that one slot. I'm like, there's benefits to the back end of the draft too, but it didn't. It seems this year people are more locked into it.
Yeah, I grabbed the 12 last year and was really happy by getting, with 3 of the top 25 players. And I took it again this year, and then I left that to join you fine folks. But yeah, I think the back end of the draft has a lot of benefits. Like you guys were saying, you might get 2 quarterbacks or 2, I don't want 2 kickers and a, tight end. I don't know how you're going to play it.
Do we have any first-time Scott Fishbowl individuals in this one draft here this year? All veterans, all returners? All right, that should make things a little bit more interesting here, too.
Yeah, it's my second as well.
Same, yeah.
All right, well, Shane, you're just about up here. 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes, and we're kicking this thing off. Remember, it's about 1 minute per pick, so hopefully I don't get auto-timed here more often than not.
So there was someone got their first 2 picks were auto draft during the podathon, not that long ago, a couple hours ago, right?
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that come across the timeline there. I don't know if that was was that the Minneapolis or was that the podathon draft?
The podathon live draft. Somebody autoed the first 2, and they got they actually autoed the first 3 and got like Burrow, Najee, and Chase out of the 107. I was pretty impressed with the auto draft after that.
All right. Auto draft.
Well, I'm going to set my auto draft right now, and I just let that kind of take care of things.
As long as that auto guy gets Tua in the 4th, he'll be set, man. Tua.
Yeah, look, and I hope all you guys grab Tua. Just all of you somehow can draft him. I think that would be great. We should reach out to Scott, see if maybe we can make that happen for charity, of course.
For charity, yeah.
For charity. And then I'll be the one guy that doesn't get him, and then we'll just see what happens. And it's all for charity somehow. I don't know how, but it just is.
I gotta say, I'm still so impressed, Calvin. You being 16, your second year in the Scott Fishbowl. I'll probably age myself, but and I'm sure along with some of my peers on this call, starting fantasy football in the 90s when they didn't even have software, and you're just doing manual stats out of a newspaper or magazine, and so you got a jump start, man. 20 years from now, you're gonna be the next. Who knows where you're going.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been playing for probably like 7 or so years now.
Wow.
So for like half of my life, basically.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really excited to be a part of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it was.
Don't worry about Jonathan sandbagging. It's going to be Calvin over there sandbagging all of us right there.
That's right. Yeah, man, tabulating the scores. The commission had to tabulate the scores out of the paper the Monday morning. Look at the little box scores.
Yep.
And sometimes if you had a rough day at work on Monday, you don't know if you won till like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember those Sports Illustrated inserts where you would mail it in, right? And I can always remember thinking that, reading through the magazines, who would ever do this? Who would ever put a stamp on something, send it in on a Tuesday, hope that it gets there on time, and play that kind of thing.
So the worst was being hungover on Sundays and not calling the commission enough time to put your new lineup in and starting like 4 guys that are on bye because, you had to call.
Yeah. They used to leave lineups on my answering machine on Sunday mornings. The good old days.
Looks like we're hot to go here at the 101.
Oh, and the 101's off the board.
There it is. A surprise already. Look at that.
All right.
Look, I wanted a little different build, but not so much that people go, something's wrong with him. That's messed up. So I figured Kyler Murray lets me get a quarterback that not a lot of people are probably going to draft at 101. I love his completion percentages, by the way, over 66% 2 of his first 3 years. And we'll just see if one of my guys falls to me in the back, when I pick again in about an hour and a half.
It's unlikely. Drew told me before the show that his goal is to end you. So.
Oh, I appreciate that. Someone should.
So right off the get-go, Kyler Murray and Josh Allen. Ray Flowers goes with Josh Allen there. Shane with a little bit of a surprise pick there at Kyler Murray. Does anyone have the actual XM channel 87 there is where you can catch all the audio for this draft here right now. There's a phone number there, so if someone can just kind of pull that up and just kind of let us know what that is.
I've got
right
XM.
Now,
I've got XM
Yeah,
on like right now. I was gonna go on mute in a second, see how what they thought about the first pick, but yeah, I like it so far.
This shows what a rookie I am. I've got my player. There he is.
Hit draft.
Yeah. I literally couldn't find the button for a minute.
It's underneath the player list.
That's a good call. I know a lot of people aren't familiar with how MFL kind of works there. So when you were looking for that draft, but all of a sudden I was like, oh crap, I better start looking for this draft button as well.
Yeah. I had him highlighted right off the bat. There we go. Awesome.
Mahomes is not falling to 106, by the way, Pierre.
Yeah.
He had hope there when Kyler went.
Yeah.
I was torn between Mahomes and Herbert for sure. So but that's good. That's great value down there for Herbert.
So we've got.
I think Herbert was going to make it down there. I'm going to be honest with y'all.
We got the first 5 quarterbacks off the board there with the Murray, Allen, Mahomes, Herbert, and Joe Burrow. They were the first 5 selections there. Before Pierre, since Mahomes didn't fall to him, he went with Jonathan Taylor, who slipped down to number 106. Doug's on the clock. He's looking around. And there we got back-to-back running backs select with Christian McCaffrey being the next pick, which means now I got to pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, go kicker. Someone has to be bold, and it should be you, based off your mustache.
So I was 100% expecting to take a quarterback, and then you guys leave the Indianapolis kid here with Jonathan Taylor, so I couldn't pass up that opportunity.
Lamar Jackson, solid value there.
Love Lamar.
Yeah, I got no complaints. I
Fantastic.
108 Lamar Jackson. A lot of the things that I seen out there, he was going about the 105 and meant more often that Kyler Murray and Joe Burrow were the guys kind of sliding into that 108 range. So I was kind of happy to see Lamar Jackson. I mean, dude, the dude's swole now. Have you seen him now walking around practice? The dude is jacked. He is ready for this year.
Hey,
Guns out like Doug.
That
And you guys
doesn't.
can push it sleeveless, I'm all for it.
Hey Matt, that was the decision for me there too. Was between Lamar and McCaffrey. That's what I've been weighing for the last week. Is if I was put in that position. So yeah, good pick there.
Hey, at the
I'm pretty
110, I'm happy getting the number 1 quarterback in this format from last year, and that's Tom Brady.
Oh, there you go.
Thomas and Aaron gone off the board.
Calvin with the flex.
This lets me know this is definitely not a dynasty draft now.
Right.
Well, I'm kind of interested to get Drew's take there on Aaron Rodgers at 109.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I just like him in this format better than other formats. So he's going to always be super efficient, low interception totals. So I think that his value rises quite a bit in this format.
Shane, the title of the SXM thing on the app is Kyler Murray number 1 overall, with overall in caps now after that.
Look, it's better than when I was thinking about going Kyle Pitts, right? I was definitely thinking about Kyle Pitts, but the intervention stopped it. Look, Lamar's efficient too. He's no Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady yet, but he's had 2 really efficient years, and he's got the cheat code that is, the rushing ability, and he actually has a good wide receiver that isn't 47 years old this year. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can do. And then when Pop comes back from suspension, he'll have a pretty nice wide receiver room with Brown and Pop, and maybe Rondell Moore will actually be halfway decent this season.
I mean, the biggest knock on Murray has just been the way he finishes seasons. I mean, he kind of tails off towards the back end, whether that's injuries, whatever that is. But I mean, when he's on the field, I think he was the only quarterback that cracked the top 10 in fantasy production last year, despite playing less than 15 games. So, with Kyler Murray, you're going to get yourself some explosive abilities there. Quarterback run continues here through the first full round here. Now we have Rodgers followed by Brady, Wilson, and Prescott there. So only Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey are the only non-quarterbacks to go in the first 12 selections here as we make that turn to 201 with Eric back on the clock here after selecting Dak Prescott.
Pierre, you and I are screwed.
We're screwed.
This is going pretty well, actually. So
Yeah,
I'll take arguably the best running back. I say he's the best I know folks think it can be McCaffrey with his passing upside, but
Oh,
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I think Matt Ryan's going to add a little pass to Jonathan Taylor this year.
did we just start the wide receiver run? Let's see how round 2 goes here. Jefferson.
JJ 101 or 201. I like it. So just for fun, this is to tell you how good mocks are. I did a mock where I took Kyle Pitts at 101 and I ended up with Aaron Rodgers at 212. So that
Really?
yeah, that didn't. When I was looking at the mock, I was like, I can make this happen. But it kind of was all predicated on somehow Rodgers falling at 212. So I'm happy to make that move.
Killing me, Calvin.
Sorry about that. I am now after last year. I had Joe Burrow on my team last year, and then had Ryan Fitzpatrick get hurt, and had Zach Wilson, which was just brutal. I am not risking my QB2 spot this year, and I feel like with that completion percentage bonus, I'm perfectly fine with how this is started out.
That's a solid pick.
Yeah, it is. How excited was I last year starting with the 2 rookie quarterbacks? That did not go well for me with Fields and Lance. It was not a good season. So yes, like you, I need to shore up that quarterback position.
I like it though. You were shooting for the upside. I like what you.
I
were
was.
doing.
It was definitely like large field. Like if these guys break out, it's gonna, I'm gonna be one of the few teams that has these guys. But didn't end up working out.
Well, I fell on the grenade for everybody. Jalen Hurts and his stellar completion percentage.
Wait to low key it there, Drew.
got those legs though.
Yeah,
You're ecstatic. I bet you're ecstatic though, right?
Yeah.
Well, it was him or Cousins because Cousins looks good in this format, and I really wanted to click Cousins, just as a safer pick, but I went for the upside and Hurts and his legs.
No, I like that. And his completion percentage really improved from year 1 to year 2. So if he just improves another 9%, you're looking great. Another 9%. Look, he was 52 as a rookie, and then hit 61% last year. So,
hey Matt, thank you for taking that decision away from me.
You know what? I was looking at this decision. I know exactly where you're going because I was going between the 2 of them myself. And I was like, which one do I want here? I mean, even with I think I looked at it with a 25% regression from Cooper Kupp's season last year, he still would score the 3rd most fantasy points at the wide receiver position. So I was like, all right, you know what? I'm okay going with that right now. And we'll see what kind of comes back here in the 3rd round. But that could be one of those pivotal decisions. Like, okay, I feel that you really need to get yourself a top 3 option right now. We look at how the kind of quarterback run went. So Lamar Jackson is not, for me, a top 3 option in this format. Cooper Kupp, though, however, he is a top 3 option. So that gives me a little bit of an advantage somewhere when we're looking at things. So that's kind of what that decision for me came down to. And now we get the quarterback run continuing here with Stafford and Cousins coming off the board.
Pierre, you just killed me. You just killed me there.
I was actually thinking of just punting QB if Kupp would have made it to me. So you can blame Matt for that one.
Yeah, same man.
I mean, Tua is still on the board, guys. I'm just saying.
I made the conference finals with Carson Wentz last year.
There we go.
Anything's possible.
I know it doesn't tell much about how he finished the season. I think he wasn't QB 13 in this scoring last year.
Yeah, he was right around 13, 14. I think he's 29 overall, actually.
Yeah.
Najee off the board.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is pretty
surprised,
good.
Though.
Formats there, so Austin Eckler, Najee Harris, Austin Eckler, 2 good running backs here, especially when you add in that little bit of that PPR kind of total there. So, I mean, interesting here. I'm kind of shocked. There's some names I thought would have gone a little bit sooner still on the board. I won't say that because I know about you guys, but when you're talking about a draft, all of a sudden someone starts mentioning a name that's still on the board. You're like, shut up! No,
Yeah, don't do that.
I want to keep. Yeah, don't do that. Don't be that guy, right? Don't be that guy when we're looking at things.
Oh, so I'm not going to mention. Okay.
You can
a handful of mocks. I say the handful of mocks I've done, Najee hasn't slid to me, so I didn't necessarily plan on taking him there. It was the first time in a draft that he has made it this far, so banking on a lot of volume.
My plan going into that was double quarterback of the rip, and that's not the way the board felt to me.
You know what? I was in the same thing there, Matt. I mean, everything I kind of looked at, I was like, okay, 2 quarterbacks, first 2 rounds. I'm like, oh, you know what? I got to hold off on that. I mean, when you see that value start to slide down, it changes the way you think about it. I mean, anyone who says they have a plan, they follow right through from start to finish, I think they're probably lying to you at this point in any of these kind of drafts.
Yeah, Cousins or Carr almost always fell to me there. So I had to go on the fly, and I went with Derrick Henry. Like you guys said, it's not a dynasty format. I think he's got another good year in him.
The one thing that worries me about Derrick Henry in particular is you've got A.J. Brown. He's gone. I don't think Treylon Burks or Robert Woods is that kind of solution there for him. He's also got 5 screws in that foot. So you're going to face loaded boxes with 5 screws. I'm not as high on him as most people, but,
Right.
I mean, he's a talented running back. There's no doubt about it.
If he doesn't hold up, I'm going to be 5 screwed.
Well, we've got our little bit of a tight end run here there to finish off round number 2 with Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews finishing off there. So teams are starting to take a little bit of a shape here right now as far as we go. I mean, there's, again, positional value, top 3. Talk about Mark Andrews, talk about Kyle Pitts. Those are 2 tight ends that could be not only top 3 options at the tight end position, but they could also, if you take their point total from a season ago, Mark Andrews in particular, Travis Kelce in previous years, they were arguably top 5 wide receivers. I think Kelce was a top 9, or Mark Andrews would have been the 9th best wide receiver last season. So you're getting yourself some good value on that draft pick. And there's another good one there, Eric, following that up with Jamar Chase. I mean, Jamar Chase dropping to 301, that I can't even explain that one right there.
What do
I
you
wanted
think
him. I was between him and Najee.
What do you guys
Thought he
think
might
about
slide.
that build? What do you think about that build in the Scott Fishbowl, going quarterback, receiver? Especially when you're
Nah.
I can't get behind that. I think any kind of bully format here, except maybe a bully tight end, if you're in that kind of position where you're able to do that, I don't think there's a good idea. Like running off too much kind of leaves you short somewhere else. I mean, I always like more of a balanced type draft myself personally. So going wide receiver, I think, or something like that, you're going to leave yourself pretty thin at running back or quarterback or tight end. I think putting too much value into that one position probably hurts you more than it helps you. But
Fantasy Mojo just hit me with an absolute snipe. I am tilting now. I think I'm going to have to go with that stack to get Devontae Adams here at the 303, but I don't know for sure.
I think you incorporated every boomerism that you could in there.
Just mentioning my name is a boomerism.
Oh boy. I'm going to go grab Adams.
That's good call. That's a good call.
Yeah, look, if the best way to build your roster is taking those 2 wide receivers instead of just reaching at the position because you're like, all right, well, I need it to be a little evened out here. I should just grab a running back. When you don't like those particular running backs that are left, I'm fine with grabbing the wide receivers if that's what you want to do.
So this draft just got lit, and Drew just basically sniped me right there because I was really hoping that Joe Mixon would somehow, some way fall back down to me here. So that was kind of where I wanted to go on this whole thing. So now I got to relook at everything that I was thinking about, and I just don't know how I feel. So I'm going to – I thought about going wide receiver, but that doesn't really do me a lot of good. So I'm going to go with maybe the next best running back on my board, and that's DeAndre Swift here. I mean, I lose out on Joe Mixon, so I'm going to go, you know what? Let's get in on DeAndre Swift. There's that balanced approach here. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back. Not where I wanted to go. I really thought, Drew, come on, man. I thought Joe Mixon was going to fall to me. Can we still make trades? Can we trade? No.
Buddy,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was hoping.
Guys, I'm positively
players to
thrilled
fall to me
here. Stafford wasn't my ideal pick for QB1, but I knew I had to take him here. Love Trey Lance. Love Trey Lance this year.
Trey Lance is polarizing
nice.
to me. I can't make out what I want to call him right now in this offense. I mean, literally, Jimmy Garoppolo had the 12th most passing yards last year in this offense. I just don't know what to expect with Trey Lance. We know he can run the ball. We know he's got all kinds of arm talent. But he literally couldn't beat out Jimmy Garoppolo a season ago. So I don't know what to make out of him, Doug. Come on, sell me on Trey Lance here.
Yeah, I don't think last year was so much about him being able to beat him out. I think that was, I don't want to say that was the plan all along, but his last year at North Dakota State, he had one game. So he had one game in a year and a half. Love the skill, and I know that Shanahan's going to build the offense around him. I think he's going to be the goal line option. probably the primary goal line option there. And I'm not expecting 66.6% on the completion percentage, but I think the rushing upside. Basically, I think I'm getting Jalen Hurts around later, is what I think. With a little bit slide. What's that?
I was hoping he would slide to me down here. That was a great pick.
So we've got, obviously, after Trey Lance went, CeeDee Lamb, he's off the board there. Pierre, you're kind of building a little low-key there, solid roster there through 3 rounds.
Yeah, that's the plan. No Amari Cooper, so I like CD quite a bit. Going to be hands down the top target for Dak there, so it was hard to pass him up. Never went to it. There you go, Shane.
I'm sorry.
There it is.
Took him out of your hand, Shane.
Grabbing the best quarterback on the board.
I'm a believer in the Southpaw.
All right,
See, so here's what I got a decision to make because I got a wide receiver here that I want, but every time that I play in this league, I wish that I would have gone the hero running back approach, and I never do it. And it always ends up biting me in the butt. So I think I'm going to go a different approach here, and we're going to grab the value here, and offense I think is going to have to run the ball, and we're going to do this.
Yep. I figured that's who you were talking about right there.
Oh, okay.
That's a great pick. That's a great pick.
Matt, about that. How I'm not scared off by Jacoby Brissett starting possibly half the season. What do you think? Do you think that means more run volume for Chubb, or you think that? How do you think that affects Chubb?
I mean, I don't think it necessarily means more run volume. I don't like Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback per se. I think it's more of how I feel about Kareem Hunt. I'm not a huge Kareem Hunt fan, especially as a running back too. Right now, I think that they're going to increase Nick Chubb's volume, and I mean, right now he's averaging like over 5 yards an attempt. Right now, I mean, just what he's doing right now per carry is unheard of. So I mean, give me that value in the 3rd round right now. I'll take that all day.
It's funny how often you see guys Taylor and Jonathan Taylor and Nick Chubb on those lists of either athlete contact or efficiency. It's amazing how often you see those guys in the same breath. Nice job,
a couple
Shane.
running backs there off the board there. I like that. I like Saquon Barkley there. Another dude that looks pretty darn good without his shirt on. I think Shane's kind of got guys that I kind of like there right now going on. Ray Flowers, Javonte Williams there at 311. I mean, that is one of my guys there altogether is Javonte Williams. So 2 guys I was kind of hoping. I thought Barkley may have slid a little bit further there. That was more hope than anything. And then Javonte Williams, which I'm kind of surprised, made it all the way down to 311.
Shane, if Lance wasn't there for me, Barkley was going to be the pick. So I love that pick for you.
Well, you're not going to like this one. No one's going to. No, I can't do it.
Justin Tucker. Come on, Justin Tucker.
Have we seen, before Shane comes here, outside of maybe Kyler Murray going 101, have we seen any actual real surprising picks so far compared to some of these other drafts that we've seen? I think right now we're probably following a typical template there as far as drafting is concerned right now.
I would say so. I saw the serious guys were saying they liked the guys going off the board mainly in the 1st round. Had a couple nitpicks with the order, but like order aside, it was pretty much the guys they expected there. And I would say I agree. I guess I think I agree. There's not really been that much surprise. I think everyone's kind of on the ball right now.
I like my team so far, but this is the first smash for me at the value that I'm getting in.
Good call, Jonathan.
I feel like he could really outperform this draft spot big time with Devontae being gone, and he's been their number 1 wide receiver. He's been their number 1 in receptions without Devontae. So I know it's a small sample size, but hopefully that holds up, and we get some receiving work and some touchdowns out of him.
And there's another good value coming off the board there. Deebo Samuel at 404. I mean, we're getting some good value here in the 4th round. I think that's one of those keys to picking early in the 4th, having that early draft pick, because there's some really good, talented players there still in the 4th round, especially at the top of the 4th. They're watching Aaron Jones and Deebo Samuel. I really like what Ray Flowers has put together here. At quarterback, he's got Josh Allen and Matt Ryan. At tight end, he's got Kyle Pitts. And at running back, Javonte Williams, which is a pretty darn solid roster here so far. I'm not too sure. Nate kind of throwing out here in the chat here where you can find the draft board. I don't know if there's a way for me to pull up a draft board on MFL here right now. We definitely will post it after the draft.
Sirius
on
posted
Twitter.
it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, Sirius got the board? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for there, Nate, head over to Sirius FM there and they've got the draft board kind of all set up there for you right now.
Jonathan got a smash pick, then left us. God.
I'm playing best ball now. I got sniped in my Chase Burrow stack to take Najee, so I'm not missing out on my Tyreek Tua stack. So let's go Miami here. Nice pick.
I'm back.
There.
I was checking the Twitters and whatnot over there.
I like
I'm
the
waiting here
Tyreek
to see
Hill
what
pick.
Doug does here. Doug's going to end up sniping me here. I know it right now. So
Really? I'm not sure. I'm deciding between a chunky boy and a receiver. Does that help you?
not particularly.
All
Chunky
right.
boy.
We're gonna go with chunky boy.
Fournette, there he goes.
So it's
Lenny's
not
always
very
going to be
often
my
here,
boy, man. Sorry,
I thought it
man.
was Eddie Lacy.
It's not very often that I get a top 12 wide receiver dropping to me down here at 408. And I feel like I need to kind of basically take Keenan Allen here because I'm not too sure how I can pass him up at this value. I mean, it's down to a couple different names, but I'm going to go with Keenan Allen here and kind of give me that Cooper Kupp, Keenan Allen wide receiver room there, especially kind of a PPR type format here. So I feel better about that.
What do y'all think about Keenan Allen? He feels like that guy that's just perennially undervalued for somebody that
Every year. Yep.
Just puts up numbers.
I don't know, 3 or 4 seasons of 100 catches. It's somewhere in that neighborhood by now.
I think from 2017, if you look at the last 5 seasons, I was just kind of doing a little bit of an article on him. I think 2017, he's got more receptions than any other wide receiver in the league going back to 2017. And we don't talk about it ever. I mean, I think that's a shame. And then Drew got the other guy I was really thinking about there. I wanted to go Kamara there. That uncertainty there, Drew, kind of, you know more about anything with your everything you got to post there, your background there. Got to give us, whoever's watching right now, kind of put them at ease there with the Alvin Kamara situation.
Well, I'm not a guy who really likes a lot of risk when I'm drafting. That's not me, but when I'm looking at the Kamara situation, the update that I put out recently is just that I think that this thing might stretch into 2023 because when they come back for their court date on August 1st, they're basically back where they were in April. So they have a situation where it's really just still a pre-trial phase. It's going to be hard to make a deal in this case from both sides because the prosecutor is going to find it hard to offer something nice when there's such bad injuries. And Kamara can't really take something unless it is something nice. So I think this is going to get set for trial. It'll end up being set for trial in October, November timeframe. And then I think it's going to end up out past the end of the year. But having said that, there is a huge X factor there, which is that if there's some sort of stimulus to move the league to suspend him, like that video dropping, it's a risky pick still. It's still a volatile pick. But I think the value is too good right now, so I had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been kind of weighing that all off season where risk meets reward as far as Kamara. I did a couple of drafts there, and I felt the 4th round is kind of where you feel good about. There's not 11 other running backs better than Alvin Kamara. So if you're getting him as the RB 12, I mean, that feels to me like an absolute steal depending on where your draft actually kind of goes. I mean, for me, like I said, this kind of setup, I don't like a whole lot of risk, but the reward right now was absolutely screaming for a selection here, especially on the back end of the 4th round. Now, after Kamara went off the board, Calvin went with James Conner. Darren went with another underrated wide receiver that never gets the credit that he deserves in Mike Evans. Justin Fields at 412 to Eric again. And then Eric double taps there a little bit there, going with T. Higgins there on the turnaround, which leaves Darren back on the clock here at 5:02.
I would have a really hard. I like what Eric's doing in terms of talent. I would have a really hard time going in Scott Fishbowl in 5 rounds and not have a running back yet.
Yeah, that hero, that zero RB approach, I don't think usually works out very well for a lot of people. But what do I know? I mean, I've tried different things. I'm usually that old guy that goes 3 running backs off the first 3-4 rounds. That's never worked out for me. So who am I to say what works and what doesn't work?
Well, I think the 5
what
was
is working is.
I think the 5 was an auto pick.
Ah, yes.
Oh,
there it
great
is.
pick. There you go.
Yep. Darren?
One of my favorite wide receivers there. Gets himself a new quarterback who can throw the ball down the field, has a good completion percentage on deep ball throws. DJ Moore, welcome to Team Fantasy Mojo there.
We're doing it for the kids. He's been moving up, in ADP recently, and I mean he was already like not in this format, but in more PPR format. He was 4th, 5th rounder. I'm seeing him in some drafts. He's going in early 3rd round in PPR drafts right now. So I mean, you finally stabilized that quarterback situation, and he was going to do good regardless. But now it just sort of solidifies what we can expect.
What do you say about all that touchdown regression noise that's going around on Twitter right now?
For DJ Moore?
Yeah, for DJ Moore.
I mean, I don't know that it'd be significant. I mean, I'm like looking at the targets and the receptions, and it's the overall profile. I'm not too concerned about the touchdown regression.
Oh, this is why I wanted Dalvin Cook back in round 3, because I'm fine with Montgomery at the 503 here, but at the same time, like I liked the value I got on Connor. I figured I could get that, but then I wanted one just elite guy, and Cook to stack with this team. That would have been great for me. That's kind of my one regret so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I definitely like what I definitely like what my Kings Classic compadres are doing in front of me. That's for sure.
Now, this isn't going to be, you might not see the same thing next month, so don't use this as a tell for what's going to happen.
I see,
what do you mean? I'm taking Rogers 109 in that thing. What are you talking about? So, I just want to make sure. Did you say something nice about me just now? I wanted to be on record.
That was
Okay. All right.
Well, it depends on how you interpret that, because Doug said it. He likes how the people drafting in front of him are selecting from the Kings Classic. I mean, depending on which way we look at this thing, both me and you Darren, we're behind him in the draft. So that might have been one of those backhanded kind of compliments there to kind of make us feel better about what we're doing. But really,
that's a great pick, Doug. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice there. Yeah.
I was hoping after I saw T. Higgins come off the board, that was my last wide receiver one. I think wide receiver one that I wasn't going to have to project or wish that was going to be receiver one. I have some guys receiver twos I think are going to be receiver ones, but I think that, especially with Matt Ryan, I think he's going to be top 15, obviously.
So after DJ Moore selected at 502, we saw David Montgomery go at 503. Darren Waller at 504, George Kittle at 505, Michael Pittman, you just heard Doug kind of talk about that at 506, and then Pierre goes with at 507 Jalen Waddle, and we just had Cam Akers go off at 508. Coach Dan, you not scared off by that Achilles there? You think he's going to be back to 100%?
I'm hearing nothing but good things out of camp there. So he skipped any summer vacations, has been in Rams headquarters 8 a.m. every morning. So I'm going to buy that scouting report there and think just an extra year removed from injury, Super Bowl champs. I'm all in on Akers this year.
Great
I'm just going to kind of go through here a few of these teams here right now. I know Shane's coming up here shortly, but right now he's got Kyler Murray, Mark Andrews, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Ray Flowers, and we talked about that roster already with Matt Ryan, Josh Allen, Kyle Pitts, and Javonte Williams. Our fan, quote unquote, here, Jonathan's got Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Derrick Henry, and Aaron Jones. Still looking for that wide receiver. Debbie, Matt, I kind of like your what you got going on here. A little Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, who you just selected here at 509. I mean, this might be the team to beat right now as I'm kind of going through these rosters. Then after that, we got Coach Dan, Joe Burrow, Najee Harris, the number 1 overall quarterback in the draft, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, and Cam Akers. Pierre, Jonathan Taylor, Kirk Cousins, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle. Myself, Lamar Jackson, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, George Kittle. Doug Orth there, got Christian McCaffrey, Matt Stafford, Trey Lance, Leonard Fournette, Michael Pittman. Drew there selecting Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Darren Waller. Calvin with Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, James Conner, and David Montgomery. Fantasy Mojo, Russell Wilson, Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, another fantastic roster right there. And Eric sitting at Dak Prescott, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Justin Fields, T. Higgins, still looking for that running back, but man, that stable of wide receivers, there may not be a better trio right now in this draft currently. Now, since that Deontay Johnson selection at 509, we saw Elliott go at 510, Josh Jacobs at 511, Travis Kelce at 512, and Zach Wilson. Shane, explain yourself at 601.
I looked at the list of the quarterbacks, and basically fear took complete control of my heart, mind, body, soul. I was looking at an area of Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, McCorkle Jones, I think is the safest play, but I don't like safe. I'm not going safe in this draft, in case you haven't noticed. So I'm going to go Zachary Wilson. Look, some news came out today about how good he is with his mother's friends. That's the type of quarterback I want on my team. They upgraded his weapons immensely. They upgraded his line. They gave him, they gave him Garrett Wilson, who I think is the wide receiver one of the class. Gave him Breece Hall. Gave him C.J. Uzomah. I just think, unless he is actually really bad at football, that he should smash this year.
I mean, there may not be a bit more underrated, underappreciated wide receiver core than Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, and Garrett Wilson heading into the season right now. I mean, a lot of hype. I mean, a lot of talent there coming out of college. We've seen what Elijah Moore could do when he was on the field. I mean, the trick is to keep him on the field. Corey Davis, big target in the end zone. And then, of course, you got the Breece Hall, Michael Carter kind of backfield there for the Jets. Since that selection, though, since you mentioned McCorkle, he went at 604. Rashad Bateman went at 603. We are now back to coach here at 605.
Well, with the accuracy bonus, the way accuracy is done in this league, I had to take Mac Jones there. I mean, with the way the quarterback landscape is shaping up right here, Mac was the pick for me there.
There's a brutal pick here.
You look at that quarterback list, and you're like, oh, my goodness. Like, this is my second. I don't know if I like this as my third quarterback.
Wow.
This is my second quarterback.
Wow.
Great pick, Gabe Davis. Like it.
Hey, look, he's going to have 35 touchdowns this season.
He's the one guy that can have more touchdowns than catches. Yes,
that's just math.
Thinking on that Buffalo offense in a matchup versus my boy Joe Burrow in a Week 17 stack. Hopefully this fishbowl team can make it that far. We'll see.
I think this may have already been mentioned, but Shane, I did hear you on Sirius even after you logged on here, so it must be delayed. But
Yeah. I know it's delayed only because I was listening to it on my phone on the app earlier. Trying to listen to this. Definitely delayed. I don't think I'm still on there. It's not that delayed.
Guys,
they just went to break.
Yeah.
I won't say much here. Just I didn't expect this guy to be available here.
Every mock draft and everything I've seen, Terry McLaurin has definitely been going a lot quicker than the 607. But I kind of joked here, and I'm going to put my money where my mouth is here at 608. I don't want to do this right now, but you know what? I kind of feel I have to. I've been talking about Brandon Cooks being more fantasy productive than A.J. Brown. I'm going to take him here 2 rounds later than A.J. Brown. So give me a little bit of that Brandon Cooks here. It's 608, which may be a round earlier than where he's been normally going.
Shane, I think I heard some A.J. Brown shade.
Oh, yeah, definitely. People weren't loving Matt's not loving him. Well, Matt's a hater. That's what he does. You know what I mean? He likes Brandon Cooks because he's old like Matt. And, I skew younger, and I get it.
I like the team Matt's building, though. I mean, perennially undervalued wide receivers in Keenan Allen and Brandon Cooks, guys that just put up stats that nobody talks about. I love that.
Here's my approach right now, because all my players are undervalued, underappreciated. So there's no high expectation on me for this team to perform. So at the end of the day, if they perform, that's a bonus. I look good. If they don't perform, I mean, hey, they weren't expected to perform, right? I mean, that's how this kind of shakes out.
So you're building the underdog narrative as well.
I am. I'd seen what Jonathan was doing there a little bit prior to the draft starting there, and I figured, you know what, that could work for me.
All right, so who's going to be the heel of the league? One of us has to be like, oh, I'm the prohibitive favorite. Drew?
I just automatically assume that Drew being like a lawyer and such, and you being you, automatically just assume those roles.
That's true. That's true.
I'm
Drew
shocked
will
that
sound much
Brees Hall
smarter
made
about
it this far.
Calvin,
Yeah.
Calvin, that's yep. It was going to be between McLaurin and Brees Hall.
Oh.
Yeah, I liked it.
Ah, come on.
Yeah,
Eric.
good value. That's great.
That is where I was debating J.K. Dobbins and Brandon Cooks. I thought, you know what, maybe Dobbins slides just a little bit further. That obviously was not going to happen. And then he double taps the running back. We were kind of giving Eric a little bit of a hard time there about not having those running backs. Well, J.K. Dobbins and Elijah Mitchell, not a bad combination there at 6'12 and 701.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, for sure. For
Nice.
sure.
Now I actually got to see what my roster actually looks like. I haven't really paid that much attention to it.
I don't know why everybody didn't get all excited about the Ryan Tannehill pick. I mean, come on.
Well, I'm still battling the whole fact that McCorkle Jones was already selected, so now I don't know what to do.
We'll just ask Scott.
Mike Williams is a sweet pick too. Everybody taking
Absolutely.
Herbert top 3. We're all Chargers, and Mike Williams, he slid a bit there.
Jared Goff is gross, but I didn't expect Drew to take a third quarterback. That wasn't it kind of messed me up, but
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'll take Mr. Goff.
I don't think Jared Goff is as gross as you think he is. I mean, you look at those weapons. He's a pretty accurate passer. He's not nothing fancy, but he's not going to hurt you as far as accuracy is concerned. And he's got some weapons there with Swift, with some of the wide receivers I won't mention because they haven't been selected yet. I mean, there's some good offensive weaponry there for Jared Goff to be using there in Detroit.
I was
And
going
there's
to
some
say
good
Schultz.
value right now as far as tight ends are concerned. Dalton Schultz going at 703. Not a bad selection.
I was taking
at
Schultz.
704,
damn
we were
it.
waiting on Drew.
Yeah, personally, I was gonna wait on tight end because I didn't get one of the top guys, and then I looked and the wide receivers just looked so disgusting here. I was like, just why not pick a tight end? And I liked Schultz. I think he's half a tier above the rest of the guys there.
See, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I look at some of these wide receivers and I see nothing but sexiness. But yeah, I get it.
So after the Dalton Schultz selection there, which may have forced Drew's hand there, Dallas Goedert at 704. Antonio Gibson was selected at 705. Now we are back to Doug here at 706.
Oh, I hate having to pass on one of my guys here. All right, I've been grabbing Zach Ertz a lot, and I think he's the last strong usable tight end in this format. So I think that's the end of the go.
We're talking about the non-sexy guys, Brandon Cooks, Keenan Allen, Zach Ertz, but Zach Ertz just goes out there and sees 100-plus targets every year.
Well, that's our third tight end in the last 4 picks there. So a little bit of a tight end run there going before Pierre stops the bleeding with A.J. Dillon at 707 to put Coach back on the clock.
I
like Dillon quite a bit this year. I feel like Aaron Jones is going to be more involved in the passing game. That was usually the case when Devontae Adams was out, so now he's gone. So I feel like they'll have some 2-back sets, and Dillon's their bruiser. So hopefully he can get some goal line touches and get into the end zone this year.
Being a Cowboys fan,
Miles
I want to
Sanders.
throw up Shane taking Miles Sanders right now, but I'm going to go with the Eagle here. I think, they got that big offensive line. I know Eagles running backs could be frustrating, but this might be a little bit different.
I'm not entirely sure this guy should have fallen this far, but we're just going to go ahead and keep rolling with
All
the
right.
wide receiver.
Well, don't take the guy I'm about to take, though.
Now, can we
Nice.
are we just going to name people that I don't want you to draft?
Yeah, that'd
So-
be great.
Scout's honor?
No one here is like a PT or a medical professional, right? We're pretty much okay. Good. So Chris Godwin's an interesting one here because where he injured his ACL, his 9 months kind of puts him at November. But everything we're hearing right now out of camp is, he's going to be ready for training camp here sooner than later, which kind of bumps that timetable up for him a little bit more. So I think for when you're watching guys who drop, and Chris Godwin, Matt, you kind of mentioned you're not sure if he should have been there. I mean, that's probably the reason, is that injury kind of risk reward type value there. But at 709, I mean, is there any risk anymore?
I don't think the risk is there at that point.
The shortness of the season worries me with people who might miss the beginning of this season because the playoffs start so early, you know?
Well, I think that's a key thing there too. I think what did playoffs start week 13, and then it's kind of carryover points from your regular season on. So
yeah.
I know Drew's probably read all the fine print there as far as the league settings are concerned. So Drew, you just kind of want to mention kind of how this seeding kind of goes as we hit into playoffs. I know we're looking at week 13, I believe, is when the playoffs kick off.
Believe it or not, I am the wrong guy to ask about the playoff format, because I saw there was a little bit of conversation about it, because I think Scott changed it so that there was some cumulative build in because of the late buys. But I think somebody who knows it better should probably explain it. But that's my understanding.
Well, I would ask Shane, but typically he doesn't make the playoffs, so he probably doesn't look that far in advance when we were looking at the rules and regulations.
Oh, that's just painful. I just don't read the rules, but I actually read the rules. Still didn't understand them, but I'm just going to ask for help from someone to help me understand what they mean.
It's an elimination format. So I think the first, week 12 is the first playoff. Weeks 12, 13, and 14, like 10% of the field gets chopped, which is pretty minimal. You know, that's not that hard to survive that. And then once you get into the final 3 weeks, they start cutting half the field. So you can sort of survive the initial playoff weeks, I think. I think last year, it seemed like they were cutting 50% within the league. It was different. Now it's kind of more like an entire field, more of a tournament approach.
And the one thing we got to keep in our minds on, don't worry about your regular season record. Yes, the regular season record helps you get to the playoffs to a point, but your points for can get you in there as well. So just because you're struggling or getting yourself against some tough matchups here doesn't mean you're not going to make the playoffs. If you can kind of put out a high points for, I think there's like a threshold, I think last year, where he said, if you get this many points for, you're automatically into the playoffs. So that's something else to keep in mind. Whether you're getting that win-loss record, get those points. I mean, that's probably the most important part about the whole thing.
Yeah, Matt, speaking to your point, I had a 4-win team make the playoffs last year.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I think I was 6-8 or whatever it was. Like it was below 500, but my points for was actually the second most in my division. And somehow, some way, I made it all the way to the semifinals last year with a team that only won 6 games. But it was that points for.
Oh, nice.
You have these things where you're going to run into some bad luck. I mean, that's some bad luck to have the second most points for. And technically, a 6-win team is not going to get you in the playoffs in many of your leagues right now, whether it's a Scott Fish Bowl or something else. And we've just had a few more names kind of come off the board here, which I really like. So after the Chris Godwin, at 7-10 went DK Metcalf, 7-11, Juju Smith-Schuster, 7-12. We had Marquise Hollywood Brown, which is another guy I absolutely like there. London Drake went at 801. Kenneth Walker, 802. Darnell Mooney, one of my favorite players. Hey, that target share ain't going anywhere there in Chicago. He went at 803. Pat Freiermuth there at 804. Jerry Jeudy at 805. Allen Robinson at 806. And now, Doug, you're back up at 807. I like that Allen Robinson selection.
Same. I was looking at that. For sure as potentially a high upside guy.
That was my pick, too.
Well, I knew Doug had Stafford, so I slowly clicked on Allen Robinson just for him. Stop his stack. But, I mean, he actually has a quarterback. You know, he's out of Chicago, so hopefully he can have a connection with Stafford. I thought it was really good value here in the 8th round.
If I didn't need a tight end and I didn't go Freiermuth, Allen Robinson would have been my pick there.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Damian Harris goes at 807. Now it gets kind of interesting because there's not any of those absolute wide receivers that you want to select. There's the running back area is pretty dry. Tight end is what it is. I mean, and then at quarterback, which I probably should focus on here at some point. As someone who's only got one quarterback right now, I feel that I'm almost forced to make a selection here. And I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to buy into the Baker Mayfield hype there in Carolina with some weapons there. I'm going to take Baker Mayfield here at 808, which may be a reach. It may pay off. I don't know. But when you got weapons such as DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey, you don't have to let the ball sling all over the field to get some production. So hopefully maybe some higher percentage throws come out of Baker Mayfield. I mean, I feel at this point you probably should have 2 quarterbacks here by the end of the 8th round, which, by the way, was completely the opposite of my thought process going in, because I wanted to get 2 quarterbacks within the first 3 rounds for sure, and that just didn't happen because of where the value just kind of kept sliding for me.
Drew just took one of my 2 guys I wanted on the turn.
Well, I'm going to assume that you're talking about Drew here, because no one wants Baker Mayfield. So next up, 809, Adam Thielen off the board.
Yeah, that's my first receiver.
All he does is catch touchdowns. Everyone thought there was going to be regression, and last year he kept catching touchdowns. So I don't mind Thielen. I considered him at 8 instead of Allen Robinson to kind of stack up with Cousins, but I just like Robinson's talent a little bit better.
You can still pull back on Allen Robinson. I think we can have mulligans, right?
Yeah.
Pause the draft.
This is just a mock draft, right? This is just a mock draft. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Traylon Burks, the next 2 wide receivers off the board at 8:10 and 8:11. 8:12, we got Eric on the clock, and then Eric again at 9:01.
I really like Amon-Ra St. Brown there. I like that pick.
Mini stack. What's not to like with my disgusting Jared Goff? Now we're flying.
And another running back off the board, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. How are we feel about Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Because that seems like another polarizing type selection here, just because of everything going on in Kansas City. I'll kind of ask the young gun here himself there, Calvin.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yeah, you're right. It's just like he's been stuck in such mediocrity for the first 2 years now. They added Ronald Jones. I'm not too optimistic. I see like the fact they were like it was scary easy for them to shift away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire and just be like, okay, this is Darrell Williams' backfield. I don't see any like the draft capital mattering anymore. I just don't see any more commitment. I think they've realized that he is what he is and he's not a superstar. So at the same time, though, you're talking end of the 8th round. That's solid value at RB. I just don't love the upside there.
Anyone else have any thoughts on Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Ramondre Stevenson, Russell Gage, the next 2 players off the board there at 9:01, 9:02.
I like
Gage.
Okay.
I was going to say, I'm glad that they took him instead of Jonathan Taylor, being a Colts fan. Go ahead, Jay.
I was just going to say I have so much faith in Clyde Edwards-Helaire that I just wrote an article about how Ronald Jones is a sleeper. So, no, absolutely out on Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
There's a lot of people that think that. I mean, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we know he can catch the ball out of the backfield. We know Ronald Jones can't catch the ball, but he can definitely run between the tackles. I mean, if you can predict which running back is going to be more effective from week to week, you're definitely a better man than I am.
I mean, the opportunity is there for CEH. I mean, we saw the one report. He had an injury last year. He had to put weight back on, and it impacted his season. I mean, is Rojo going to fool us again? I don't know how much I believe in Rojo, but if there is an opportunity for CEH, it's boom or bust this year. I mean, volume-wise, there's a story, there's a narrative where it could work out. If not, Kansas City's probably looking elsewhere next year.
And then, Drew, I want to head back to you here because Amari Cooper, I feel the value is kind of tied into the Deshaun Watson type thing here right now. And we won't get into the whole Deshaun Watson thing, but what do you see as the outcome here for Amari Cooper in 2022?
Well, I'm not excited about him, as clearly nobody else is, because we're in the 9th round and nobody wanted to touch him. I get it. I mean, I get the downside, but he's still going to be the alpha there. And Jacoby Brissett, while not an amazing quarterback, is good enough to get the ball out and move the offense with a good running game. I still think Cooper as my wide receiver too. I'm fine with it with the build I've gone. Obviously I'd rather have him as a 3 or a 4, but with my build, that's the kind of guy I got to take a chance on. I think Watson's going to play the second half of the year, so hopefully that'll kick in time for the playoffs, where I'll be 3-8 and out of.
Well, you have a lot of points scored, so you'll be fine. You'll make it in.
That would be a first. This is my 3rd year, and I improved markedly last year, but still didn't make the playoffs. So we'll see.
We had
some interesting selections here. Oh, come on, Pierre. That was kind of the guy I was kind of hoping would slide down there at 907. Davis Mills, one of the more accurate quarterbacks there. If you take his 10 games as a starter last year, he had over 68% completion percentage. So absolute good value.
Yeah, I like Mills. He came on pretty strong at the end of the season. So I hope he can just kind of pick up. He's clearly the guy there in Houston. They really didn't draft anyone to compete with him. So looking forward to see if he can have another solid year with the Texans.
Yeah, I like those upside picks for you, Pierre. Like the last 2 rounds, you really got like 2 guys. Like that quarterback, that's going to be so useful. I mean, if he's anything remotely, especially filling that second quarterback slot late in the 9th round with someone who could be like very competent, that's awesome. And then Robinson as well, kind of a forgotten man, but he's got all the upside in the world.
Agreed, and thank you.
I was just going to ask you guys we were talking about a minute ago. It seems like every year in Scott Fish Bowl, my team is so beat up by the time the playoffs come. Because I've made the playoffs every year, but by the time I get there, everybody's either suspended or hurt. I don't ever have that like week 14, 15, 16, 17 rush. Has that been your experience as well?
Injuries killed me last year. I mean, I limped in the
Same.
playoffs last year. No, I'm sure that was a lot of people's experience with the way the injury bug happened last season.
I think it comes down to just you're going to have some injuries, but I don't think this is going to happen in this league. But in some of the other leagues, some of the people, because you've got like the skill levels sort of differ, like who's in the leagues, and the waiver wire was really kind of, I found it maybe a little softer than I would in like a normal high stakes league. So you could have some pretty good luck on the waiver wire. I don't think that's happening in this league, so injuries might hurt you.
I had a bunch of sharks in my division last year. I was in the fish division with Sig Bloom and a bunch of people. There was just nothing on the waiver wire.
I saw that division. That was so stacked. I remember that. Was that the one that was posted about?
Yeah.
I think that was crazy.
It was fun. I ended up missing the playoffs by like 2 points or something, but I was glad to be in there with those guys. It was an active chat, and it was good to get to, interact with those guys. And man, Sig just threw me a beat down both times I played him. Golly, he just
Shane just went on this turn with like the 2 guys I was basically looking at next pick. That's pretty crazy.
It looks good.
The good thing is that in this league, waiver wires, the first come first serve is going to happen at like 1:00 in the afternoon. Now in the Kings Classic, Drew and Doug are always up at 4 a.m. to grab guys. Like it's ridiculous. So I'll get some more sleep with this league.
So Shane, you high on Christian Kirk? Obviously, he's coming over from Arizona. A lot of question marks on if Lawrence can be the quarterback everyone thinks he is. Saw you took him there. What are your thoughts with Kirk and really not being, I felt, successful with Kyler Murray?
Yeah, I'm not super high on him, but I'm looking at, I'm just looking at my options, right? Obviously, I get the next pick, so I know no one's taking James Cook unless someone trades up and changes the rules. James Cook was getting picked there either way. Just looking at the options there, he's perfunctory, the wide receiver 1 there, right? I mean, let's see what happens. They gave him a boatload of money. Maybe he clicks. That's really all I'm thinking is just it's either him or Etienne that's going to lead the team in targets, and probably both of them be 1 and 2. But I'm hoping that maybe that's one of those moves where money speaks. They actually
he set the market, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we all made fun of it, and then it completely everyone else got paid after him, so worked out well.
I might hop on the Sirius show. I'm not sure if my phone's going to ring. If so, I'll just bounce and let me back in if you can.
Yeah, sounds good. So you guys are going to hate this pick, but I like him. I knew he was going to be here. Philly fans hate him. Colts fans hate him. Again, we talked about it to start the show. Top 15 quarterback in this platform. So I'm going to take Carson Wentz here.
There you go.
Revive his career there in Washington.
I mean, he wasn't bad statistically last year until they decided they didn't want to let him throw anymore because they were afraid of his decision making. It's just mostly that his teammates want to beat him up, right?
There you go. But yeah, 27-7. I know we heard that all season when the coach were talking about moving him, the 27 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Not sure we'll have that here without Frank Reich, but if folks like McLaurin, you're going to have to like Wentz, who's throwing him the ball.
I'm going to pray that Brian Dable knows how to use this guy right. There's Tony. Love what he can do in the open field.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Nice pick.
Yeah, if he can be that guy he was for a game and a half, that's obviously a steal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, on film, Kadarius Toney's incredible. He's got a chance to be the Giants' #1 receiver this year. So I mean, that really could be a steal of a pick. Great gamble
Yeah.
here.
Well, Matt's on Sirius right now, and he's on the clock. Let's see how well he
What's he gonna do?
multitasks.
Hopefully, I sniped him.
Turn the screws.
See how long he's on his underclicker.
I doubt it.
That's a good pick.
With his receivers, I doubt I sniped him.
All right, and he needs a quarterback. He's
We've
going
got like
shotgun
5
approach.
straight players from the NFC East. I don't know if we noticed that, but that's pretty odd because it's one of the worst divisions to me personally. There's 5 straight up until
You
Hunt.
know
just
what
went
round they're
there.
going in, right? That's because it's one of the worst divisions.
It's true. It's true.
Darren, it's about time for him to go. That's a hell of a pick.
Oh, okay.
I apparently missed one here. I'm sorry, Drew. I was talking Kareem Hunt. I was talking
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, Drew.
Yeah, I'm excited about that pick. I mean, I know that he's not exciting for a lot of people, but he just kind of always making something happen. Either a few receptions, a goal line shot, whatever the case may be. He's fine for a flex in this format.
And he might get traded still. They're talking about narrowing down that backfield by one.
Even
running back.
better.
It could be that he ends up in Houston or something like that.
Even better.
Oh man, yeah, just put him in Houston. Give him all the touches. Just all
Good
of them.
gracious.
That
One
would be
thing we know
fun.
about Houston, they always make great trades.
And
I'm
Darren,
not going to touch that one.
like your two pick too, Darren. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, he came on strong the end of last year. He crushed it, so hopefully it carries
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a, the hero RB build where I need just usable guys now in that second running back spot. So I kind of went a little bit wide receiver heavy. So we'll just have to figure out RB2 as the season goes on.
All right, Darren, what's it going to be, buddy?
Who's going to break the seal on kickers? Who's going to do it?
Oh, jeez.
I'm going to double
Nah,
tap.
that's not me.
in the league. Was that something you were going into the draft knowing you
We'll
wanted
go
to
Hopkins.
do well, or you were like, I need one
So,
of
Son of a,
these number
I
of
mean,
tight
I
ends.
didn't want him.
So as a wide receiver 6 later in the season, that should
Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
hopefully be in a good spot to use him.
I can't believe you sniped me again. I was looking at that. I guess I was between two, so I'm not too mad about it. But I'm stunned that you just sniped me again here.
At least the fifth.
I'm inside your mind.
Typically, I wait.
That's what I was going
I
to
don't
do
know.
too.
I mean,
Not
I'm
joking.
going with another rookie. I am loading up on the rookies. I need that upside.
Oh,
And
nice.
I'm feeling like we talk about kickers, all those guys are available so much later. They're fine flex plays. I'm fine taking as many shots on just crazy high upside receivers as I possibly can. And if none of them work out, I'll just flex kickers. And it's
Drew,
not-
you're killing me. Come on, Drew.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a great pick there.
God.
I was hoping he would fall.
Yeah, top
Not that I'm
of
that excited, but in the 11th round, I'm happy about it.
Drew, what are your expectations for him? I'm doing a dynasty rookie draft, which we were able to pick veterans. I just got him. So
Yeah, well, I'm not expecting him to go nuts or go nuclear or anything, but I do think he's going to finish the year as their #1.
yeah,
And I think the optimism for the rookies is just a little bit overblown. And Lazard, he's a red zone guy too, so I'm just hoping he'll be passable. And I got Rodgers too, so we'll see if those two can explode a little bit for maybe 10 touchdowns
Drew,
or something. That would be
You did it to me again. You did it to me again with Lazard. I was hoping he would slide one more pick, one more time. I mean, you mentioned it. 11 red zone targets last year. He had the same amount of red zone targets as Devontae Adams did, and you're getting him in the 11th round. I mean, that feels like an absolute value to me right now.
Yeah, I was hoping for Hunt and Lazard, so I'm happy with how this turn went. And
wait,
you can blame
No.
Darren because he took Hopkins, and that's who I was going to take, and Lazard just went back up.
You know what? I feel comfortable blaming Darren for just about anything, so I'll go with you on this one.
I'm a punching bag. It's you know.
That's who I did draft. By the way. Thanks, Pierre.
I'm really liking what Pierre did. And Chase Edmonds here also in the 11th round. There's some good value still to be had. I mean, that's kind of the beauty of the Superflex. All these quarterbacks getting kind of selected means there's a lot of value getting pushed back down the board there. And Chase Edmonds, you're looking at a guy who, in limited action last year, I think he played something like 12 games. I think he had something like 43 receptions. You stretch that all over the course of a year, you're looking at a potential running back to get 60 to maybe 70 receptions in a year. I mean, that's a pretty good season one way or the other.
Yeah, it's crowded in Miami. That's the only concern. There's quite a few backs there. But hopefully the talent on the outside, Tyreek, Waddle, hopefully those guys, draw some attention and he can get some passes underneath for those that aren't a fan of Tua, his accuracy, his arm strength.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
So just going to catch up on the last few picks here. We mentioned Alan Lazard kind of going. He was then followed up by Tyler Lockett, followed up by Cordell Patterson. Chase Edmonds there at 11:07. Brendan Ayuk at 11:08. Corey Davis, who I think we talked about this at the very beginning of the show there, or earlier on at least. The wide receiver core in New York is probably better than most of us are giving him credit for. So he went at 11:09. And then 11:10, Jonathan goes there, grabs another tight end there in Irv Smith Jr., one of my favorite under-the-radar guys. One of my dynasty mustaches. Jonathan, tell us about how much you love Irv Smith Jr.
I think he showed an awful lot of upside going into last year, and then obviously he got injured, and now he's healthy, and they're going to pass an awful lot over there. Somebody way up there sniped Cousins from me. I was going to go for the Cousins to Irv stack. That was the plan, to wait on tight end, and I got the guy I wanted. I think he's going to be, the injuries can happen in that wide receiver core, and it can be Jefferson and Irv Smith just as easily as anything else. So I like him, and it is tight end premium, so I needed to get somebody to put into that starting spot there.
So after that, obviously Shane was listening. He went out and grabbed himself another Jets wide receiver in Garrett Wilson. Ray Flowers, he paired up Javonte Williams there, who he selected much earlier in the draft, I think round 3 or round 4, with Melvin Gordon. So he's got that combination there in Denver. And that combination in Denver, I think you can literally start both of them any given week. One as a RB2, one as a flex. I mean, it's a good combination to have, much like the combination there in Green Bay with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. So I got no problem with either one of those selections there if you're pairing those type of running backs, even on the same roster.
Shane is absolutely killing me.
Pierce, I like that.
So we got Michael Gallup. He went on 12:01. Shane kind of followed up the Garrett Wilson pick with Michael Gallup. Now, Shane, I got to ask you this here. Again, we are not medical professionals, but Gallup did suffer that ACL injury late in the season. Are you kind of selecting this pick with the hope that, hey, you know what? I'm going to get him maybe week 4, week 5, maybe week 6, and he's going to be productive when he comes back?
Yeah. I would not even hope that he's anywhere near a starting roster for the first 4 weeks. And then hopefully everything's going good enough where I can give him a few weeks to get back on his feet before I decide to slide him in there. But I think by week 7, week 8, I'm hoping he's back at full strength. And I'll be like, oh, what a great pick by me. I'm the best.
Shane, and then we'll change the Twitter handle to Shane is the best. If that's
there, we go.
If that's what happens, right?
Yes.
After Damian Pierce went at 12:02, we've seen Tim Patrick go at 12:03, followed by Cameron Brate at 12:04. Matt, just kind of want to explain the Cameron Brate there. I mean, there's another tight end that's getting all the hype right now in Tampa Bay. Cameron Brate, no Rob Gronkowski. Are we sure Rob Gronkowski's actually going to be retired, or he's just going to get that kind of that discount there with the Army as far as insurance premiums are concerned, and then come back to the league?
Yeah, I'm 100% banking on Rob Gronkowski not coming back. But when you look at the target share, the red zone share that Cameron Brate gets, it's up there. And in the 12th round, I mean, I'm rocking right now Pat Freiermuth as my only tight end. I needed some sort of backup there. And for the upside that I'm going to get in Cameron Brate, I like that value in the 12th round as the tight end 1 on that offense. I'm hoping that Rob Gronkowski stays retired, but that feels like a safe pick there at the 12th round.
So are we more inclined here in the 12th round to go with safe picks, or are we going to start shooting for those higher end type players here when we look at this draft? I mean,
Well, I
we're
think the
kind of in
move
that
is
range
upside.
right now.
Move is upside, but that was a safe pick for me. I'm taking a different strategy.
As someone who has 4 rookies right now already, I'm going for upside. I see the kicker as the flex that I'm going to need, the safe flex just in case. But there's no point to me, in a league with 3,000 teams, of just trying to secure safe options at flex. I'm going for the moon, basically.
First or last, either one works for you, eh?
Absolutely. I mean, the kickers are going to come in clutch. I believe it. Just if needed.
We've got now, since the Michael Carter selection, Chris Olave there. He went at 12:06 to Pierre. And then Isaiah Spiller at 12:07, Doug. I mean, I've caught a couple of shows there with Austin Eckler talking about the dynamic between him and Isaiah Spiller moving forward. And he's all for Spiller getting some more touches. The more touches Spiller gets, the longer that could potentially extend his career. We know Austin Eckler's not a big running back. So Spiller is one of those guys that's going to, dare I say it, spill Austin Eckler for some time here down the stretch.
Yeah, I think he's easily by far the best option they've brought in between Roundtree and Kelly and now him. I don't know who I heard this. I heard some. It might have been the last show on SiriusXM before they came on. The Roto guys came on here in the 3. I'm not saying he's going to steal goal line work, but Eckler's not scoring 20 touchdowns again, and I think he's not score's not necessarily a banger, but he's what they've been looking for with the Chargers to really, take some carries and touches away from Eckler. So, and I think he's the handcuff. I think he's the handcuff if Eckler gets hurt.
Don't yell at me.
Drew, you're drafting all the guys that fit into your narratives with Deshaun and Kamara.
Put my money where my mouth is.
I know.
This is feeling better.
It's super
James
volatile.
Robinson was not my selection. I was trying to hit the draft button, but by the time I actually hit the draft button, it auto-picked for me. So welcome to the team, James Robinson.
Well, that's great because I actually kind of wanted James Robinson, at least on this turn.
Hey, Matt, I didn't want Cordell Patterson either. I was trying to go for whoever went right after Cordell Patterson. Chase Edmonds.
The thing that worries me, James Robinson, he's only 23 years old as well, so he's not an old guy by any stretch of anyone's imagination. He's also coming off one of those ruptured Achilles there late in the season. Is he going to be ready by weeks 3 or 4? And by the time he's ready to come back, does Travis Etienne just basically take that job and not even let Robinson get it?
I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan there of James Robinson there. So right now I'm just kind of hoping that he actually pans out here at 12:08. Hopefully I can kind of recover on that a little bit later. I mean, we're in the 12th round, so we'll see what happens.
I know Drew was saying Deshaun Watson being the volatile pick, obvious. What do you think? You relying on the Players Union there to give you at least 6 games this year?
Yeah, I think the writing has been on the wall now since the hearing that the NFL may not feel super confident in their position. Reports were that they offered Watson 12 games and he turned it down. So they must know something. I think that we're talking about an 8 to 10 game suspension. And like I said, I'm taking a lot of volatile picks here. I understand this team could be trashed by week 4, but this is a huge field. And while I want to win my league and make the playoffs, doesn't really matter if you make the playoffs if you don't go anywhere. So it's a hyper volatile, hyper fragile build, but that's what I'm going for.
Well, I'm kind of hoping to play you early on in the season rather than towards the back end when you guys start getting healthy, off of suspension and coming back. Because you mentioned this, if your team can squeeze into the playoffs and you only need the points for to get in there, I mean, it could be one of those teams that's dangerous once they get to the dance.
Well, that's what I'm hoping. If Watson comes back, that obviously boosts the value of Amari Cooper. So that's the thinking there. And if I really think that might be happening in a situation like we have for this format, I think I got to give it a shot. So, oh my gosh!
I'm going to assume I'm watching Doug's reaction there in the middle screen here of the Brady bunch, and he does not seem to be very impressed with either the Rondell Moore selection or the Ronald Jones selection. Okay, I can't quite tell. Those arms were up for a while.
I searched for Ronald Jones with my last pick, and I couldn't find him.
Yeah, that's a great pick there.
That hurts.
I'm reaching on Darrell Williams, but I think he's going to factor in that backfield before the end of this year. So, again, let's see if I can't catch lightning in a bottle.
Well, the good thing for me is the guy I was going to select instead of James Robinson the round before was still around for me, and Jacoby Myers the round after. I love myself guys who are going to get that target share. Get over a 23% target share last year with McCorkle Jones, who's throwing about a 67% completion rate. Give him a few more than 2 tutties, and I think we're in business here with Jacoby Myers as a solid wide receiver 3 next year. I just like to talk myself up when I talk about my selections because it makes me feel better in the present. Now, once we close this draft off, that could change completely.
Matt, it was between Williams or Jacoby for me. So if that makes you feel any better.
Okay, that makes me feel
Jacoby.
much better. I mean, I kind of drew the line on Darrell Williams. If you can't put a second L in your name, I mean, I'm out. I'm out. I mean, Darrell spelled with 2 L's. Come on, man.
I screwed it up on Twitter the other day, and somebody was quick to remind me.
At least you're not putting extra letters in their name. I mean, I think I threw an extra L somewhere in Tagovailoa's name, and someone called that out on me and this and that. I said, I can't even speak English, and you're going to correct my grammar and my writing? Like, come on. That's not going to work for you. So we've got ourselves here since the start of round number 13. Eric going with Marcus Mariota. 1302 is Rondell Moore. 1303, Ronald Jones. And then at 1304, Drew went with Darrell 1L Williams. 1305, Jacoby Myers. 1306, Tyler Algier there for Doug. 1307, Marlon Mack. I mean, if they can get any part of the 2019 Marlon Mack there out of Houston, that is an absolute steal this late in the draft. That said, Dameon Pierce is there to take a few carries. And we know Pierce, he was explosive when given an opportunity to prove so back in Florida there last season in college. Marlon Mack, we don't know how explosive he is coming back from an Achilles injury a couple seasons ago.
He looked good in the
Coach.
They let him have 4 carries? They gave him 4 carries last year to highlight him before they tried to trade him and then mothball him.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Marlon Mack there a couple seasons ago get a little bit of play there ahead of Jonathan Taylor, and then everything kind of went down the way it did. I mean, I think Marlon Mack's got the talent. I think Marlon Mack's going to be at least seeing split touches with Dameon Pierce, but at the end of the day, I mean, what we've seen in short sample sizes there from Pierce in college, I mean, it tells me the Houston Texans, they got a pretty good player there for the future. After those selections there, after Marlon Mack, we see Tyler Boyd at 1308, good value again. Kenneth Gainwell at 1309, 1310. I don't even bother pronouncing his name, Albert O. Mecole Hardman at 1311, Darrell Henderson at 1312, and at 1401, we have another tight end going off at Noah Fant. That brings us back up to Ray Flowers there at 1402 with the selection of Jarvis Landry, which I absolutely love there right now. I was kind of hoping
Landry.
He'd go there. Drew was looking at him. I mean, there's a few of us looking at Jarvis Landry, who I think is an absolute steal. I don't know what we're going to get out of Michael Thomas here this year. I don't know what Chris Olave is going to give us, but we do know what Jarvis Landry can do each and every year. I think he fits that offense and with Jameis Winston perfect. Now, after Jarvis Landry, Rashad White went at 1403, putting Matt back on the clock here.
We're all digging through these very odd MFL pre-rankings here. You got to really dig. Unless you guys did that already ahead of time.
Yeah, I've kind of gone in every time I'm within 20 picks, I'm just picking out a bunch of dudes, like scrolling down because I'm like, wait, what's he going down here?
Yeah, you guys have thrown up a couple of people. I was like, geez, I didn't see that guy. Where did they find him? So that's good research on your part.
Well,
all those guys were located next to Ronald Jones.
Right. If you could do this draft on the Underdog app, I'd be a lot more familiar with where the players sit. A lot of time over there. Oh,
there's another great value there. Matthew Melvin again. DJ Chark. Love that guy right there. I don't even know. I think Chark's going to be that guy who stays on the field all the time for the Lions. I mean, he's the biggest receiver they got right there. He stretches the field. He does a lot of good things for Detroit. And like I said, Goff has some weapons this year. I think that's being not talked about nearly enough. And Chark is one of those guys.
I was talking about Coach Dan there with Devontae Parker. I like that as well.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would slide, and it's been a competitive draft here. The board's been thinning out, but I think he's New England's wide receiver 1. He's the guy that's not going to come off the field while some of those other receivers are rotating. So hopefully he can stay healthy. We all know that's always the concern with Devontae Parker.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm sure you guys weren't looking at your QB3 now, but what the hell?
What about QB4?
Joke's on you. I got my QB3 like 3 rounds ago.
I think he has a chance. I'm not saying he's going to be a full season starter. I think he has a chance, especially in the offense that they want more mobile quarterbacks. I'm not saying more than 200 yards rushing, but I think there's an upside there in that offense, especially with that skill position talent.
I mean, how many quarterbacks are left on the board that are going to be starting week 1?
Not many.
Yeah, none of them. Like you literally. Oh, no, there's one guy, maybe.
Nice pick, Matt. That's where I was going. That was the other guy I was deciding between.
Yeah, it was time to get that second tight end there. I mean, I feel comfortable with George Kittle there at the first, but George Kittle, hey, he was dinged up there a little bit. He missed some time last season, and even when he was playing, I mean, we talk about this lots out there right now. Just because you're in the lineup doesn't mean you're not injured. You know what I mean? You can still be healthy and non-injury prone, but you can be playing with an injury, which is going to affect your value, your production, this and that. So those are other things we have to kind of take into consideration when we look at these guys. Guys that play hurt, yeah, it's good to be out there, be a trooper and truck it out there, but sometimes you hinder fantasy managers more by doing that, right? Not knowing, okay, good, George Kittle's in my lineup. Oh, wait, he's been playing with a broken wrist for the last 3 weeks? That explains why he's only producing 8 fantasy points here and there. So, I mean, Kittle, he's an absolute warrior. He plays hurt, but when he's out there playing hurt, sometimes the production doesn't always follow.
What's a broken wrist? Like Carson Wentz, broke both ankles last year, didn't he? He was playing on crutches, I think, for 2-3 games.
Well, Carson Wentz basically turned into our generation's version of the Black Knight from Monty Python, right? For those younger ones out there, Calvin, I'm looking at you there. Monty Python was a fantastic show that you got to make sure to watch out there. It was but a flesh wound. I mean, that's basically Carson Wentz last year.
I did watch it. My dad actually showed it to me. So
Your dad's a good man. Your dad is a good man. Every father should show their child Monty Python skits.
I like the Herbert pick there from Mojo. I thought he looked really good. The limited opportunities he got last year. So if something happens to Montgomery, if they decide to go running back by committee, he's definitely talented.
I think if Jamison Williams plays it all from that torn ACL, that's a great pick of that value range.
I love Dotson as well. I was actually planning on trying to pair him with Wentz on the way back here. So good pick. I thought he was great out of Penn State. I was hoping he'd fall to the second round to the Colts there. So they took him that early. I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked because he's definitely talented.
I don't know what's happening. I have 6 rookies now on my team. Like I'm feeling like this value is coming and coming. Like I don't mind these picks. It's just I'm going on looking at the board and I keep thinking the best player available here is a rookie. So I like the upside at least.
I was going to say, if you're shooting upside, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like I looked at mine. I think I have 3 or 4, and I'm like, oh, I need to hold off a little bit. But quite honestly, there's been a couple occasions where I thought about grabbing a rookie, and I went, nah, I'll go the other way. But I like it actually.
I know Ryan McDowell tweeted out like a year ago for SFBX, the 20 finalists had an average of 4 rookies per team. So, I mean, there's that upside. And Jamar Chase, guys like that, Elijah Moore helped me a lot last year. So I was really happy with it.
I was thinking Zamir, Matt, but
well, it makes me feel better because I wasn't too comfortable with that pick there. It was kind of like I really think that Josh McDaniels is going to bring over that Patriot way there, that running back by committee, full whatever you want to call it. The Josh Jacobs doing the Davian Harris, the Kenyon Drake doing his best James White, and then of course Zamir White would be giving that Ramondre Stevenson type role here. I don't know how it's going to play out there, but I know for Dynasty I like White a little bit more than I do for redraft, so I was very uncomfortable with that. But I was really thinking that Drew was going to continue with doing what he's been doing and go with Calvin Ridley there. I mean, I'm looking at the board here right now. Calvin Ridley's near the top there, so Drew, I'm kind of disappointed.
Matt, That's enough out of you. Are you and Doug? Are you guys texting each other? What's happening here?
No,
Hey,
we're
you
just
know-
Doug and I. We're just exchanging sleeveless pictures to one another right now.
That's the funniest thing I've heard all day. That was good. That was good. Well, I know you're jealous that I have Robbie Anderson, ROBBIE. I think the IE is really good. It's going to be huge this year. I think he's going to go off.
He's not going to retire now, right? Like he's okay with Baker. He's coming
Have they
around on that.
have they kissed and made up yet? Because I know there's that little thing like the Browns are going to trade Baker to the Panthers, and all of a sudden, no, was coming out of Robbie. I mean, are they going to be good now? What's going on there?
I actually think that this kind of thing's overblown right now, and Baker's a better quarterback. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's a better situation. I think everything that could go wrong went wrong for Anderson last year. So I'm going to take the shot on the second wide receiver there.
That's Robbie Anderson. You look at I was looking at the target share, the numbers, and this and that. When you look at something, one of these things doesn't look like the rest. Anderson had 100 targets last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he only caught like 40 of them, but he had 100 targets last year. I mean, to me, that was absolutely insane to see Robbie Anderson have that many looks and have that few production. But I mean, that's got to be a good thing if you're getting that kind of looks, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It just everything went as bad as it could. If you watched a lot of the Panthers, which I did, just dumb things. The first target that he gets in a game, he's wide open, and they hit him in the hands and he drops it. And it was just like you could see his body language, his shoulders drop. Like it was one of those things. If you played sports, you know the feeling, like things just pile up. He had a season to forget. I don't think it can possibly be that bad again. And with the small quarterback upgrade, I'm taking that shot. Again, I forced myself into this with this build of drafting 37 quarterbacks in the first 4 rounds. So here we are.
There's another
quarterback just went off the board there at 15-12 there to Shane going with Kenny Pickett. But prior to Pickett's selection, we had Kenyon Drake at 15-11, Nico Collins, who I absolutely love, at 15-10, Donovan Peoples-Jones at 15-09, Gerald Everett, another great value there at 15-08, Evan Ingram, who I think is very sneaky right now. If he can learn to catch half the ball thrown to him, he's going to have a good season there at 15-07, and Gus the Bus Edwards there at 15-06. Doug, love it. I mean, I really think in Baltimore, you're going to see both J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards both coming back from injury this year. Both suffered those ACL injuries basically before the season really got started. I don't think Baltimore's going to load up one or the other. I don't think you're going to see 70-30. I don't even think you're going to see 60-40. I think it's literally going to be 50-50 split between Edwards and J.K. Dobbins unless something was to happen to the other. Then they have a huge workload moving forward.
I think we've seen the differing reports. One or two of the reports I've seen is Edwards is due back a little bit earlier than Dobbins. So if I can get that early season bump, then. But I agree with you, Matt. Maybe it's 55-45. I don't think it's 50-50, but I think 55-45, 60-40 at worst.
Have you been hearing the same thing? Have you been hearing the same thing I had, that J.K. Dobbins is not nearly as far ahead of his recovery as he should be at this point? I mean, I was high on J.K. Dobbins. I was looking at him in the 4th, maybe even the 5th round in redraft leagues. But then I started to hear some buzz out there that he's not, like you said, he's not as close to being ready as even Gus Edwards, which leads me to believe that there's maybe more significant damage in that knee than what we originally heard back when he first done it prior to the start of the 2021 season.
There was a lot of torque. It was just more than the ACL, if I recall. So I mean, I don't think. I mean, that happened in August, so a full year should be enough. But I can buy into the reports that I'm seeing that Dobbins might be a little bit behind Edwards.
So just to kind of recap here right now, before we make Matt makes a pick at 1604, we had Mark Ingram, and I heard a side come from Jonathan there. A great pick there, good value there at 1601. Jamal Williams, absolutely loved him. He split touches there last year with DeAndre Swift, literally the same amount of rushing yards, rushing touchdowns. KJ Osborne at 1603. Malik Willis, a little bit of a upside pick there at 1604, followed by Dan. Hayden Hurst, 1605, and one of the most explosive offenses in the league. Kind of talk about Hayden Hurst and what he means here at this late of the draft.
I mean, I went into this draft kind of looking at a fade tight end, kind of knowing I was going to get one of the top 4 big guns. So I ended up with Knox, who's got Josh Allen throwing to him. I got Everett, who's got Herbert throwing to him, and now Hurst is part of my Cincinnati stack with Burrow and Boyd being sniped from Chase and Higgins. So just like the value this late and feel pretty comfortable with my tight end position, despite not having one of the big ones.
Well, Paris Campbell, Pierre, another good value there. I know you're an indie guy yourself, so you probably got a little bit more of an invested interest in Paris Campbell. This is year 3, or he's played 3 seasons. He hasn't even accumulated a full season yet in the NFL due to injury in that. I mean, if he is healthy, he is one of the top prospects. Is he even a prospect anymore? I mean, if he's healthy, there is potential in Paris Campbell.
There is. I mean, he was a burner at Ohio State, and you look at some of the injuries he's had, they've kind of been fluke. And right now, out of mini camp OTAs, he's actually the wide receiver 2, ahead of someone that hasn't been taken yet. So I want to take one more chance, one more risk. I was actually planning on Osborne and trying to pair him with Cousins, but apparently Jonathan's a Vikings fan because he's taking Herb, he's taking Osborne. So I went ahead and took Paris Campbell there, and hope he can stay on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I've been grabbing him this late in a lot of drafts right now. I think the value is right there. I'm not as high on Alec Pierce as some other people are right now, just as a rookie. So Paris Campbell in that slot with Matt Ryan, Michael Pittman, there is a lot of potential there, a lot of opportunity for Campbell to have a good season if he can stay on the field. We had a couple tight ends here just kind of go off the board after that selection. Dante Foreman, who may be the true number 2 there in Carolina, regardless of what people want to say about Chuba Hubbard, there's a reason why they brought Foreman in there. We know what he can do. He did it well. I'm surprised Tennessee didn't bring him back last season. He was like $2 million is what Carolina got him for. I mean, Tennessee couldn't even invest $2 million in him. Tyler Higbee, if you've got that consistency report by Bob Lung, he's one of the more consistent tight ends week in, week out there. Sony Michel, Drew, another guy I absolutely love here. Good selection there. I think he could win out that top running back position there in Miami.
Yeah, it's weird to me that people aren't more interested in Michelle. Not that I think he's this explosive league winner, but the guy ahead of him, Raheem Mostert, is 30 years old now, coming off a big injury, and the guy has never, as a featured back, he played one season more than 9 games in his career. So I just don't see Raheem Mostert making it to the finish line, and even if he does, I think Michelle will carve out a role there. Edmonds will still be able to get his, but I think they need to between the tackles pounder and not a lot of people know. I believe Michelle tied for 3rd in the league in red zone carries last year. So I'm looking at that role again this year, hopefully.
And there goes a kicker.
We have a kicker.
Evan McPherson coming off. Eric obviously must be watching this right now because he went off and grabbed Raheem Mostert. Now, Mostert there, he's the guy I can relate to most in this draft. I mean, we're both at the point in our careers and our lives right now where one sneeze puts us out for 2 to 3 weeks because of a back injury. I mean, that's where Mostert is right now. So, Drew, I mean, I'm not big on Chase Edmonds either. I think he's a better pass catcher than a runner. I think it's going to be a 1A, 1B approach there in Miami when we're talking about these ball carriers. And it's going to be Michelle getting probably a good portion of the runs, and Edmonds getting a lot of those passes there too. So, I mean, Myles Gaskins was an RB25 last year in PPR formats in this Miami offense.
Yeah, I just think that there is value here. I don't know if I'm right about Michelle. If Mostert comes in and does the things he can do in that offense, I understand why people are skeptical, but I'm just not buying that he's going to be around the whole year. And I also believe that if Michelle is what they think he can be, that he's going to carve out a role regardless. So either way, I'm fine with it.
Well, if you're wrong, I don't want to be right when it comes to Michelle because I love myself some Sony Michel. After that, we talked about Mostert getting picked. John Mechie, another guy coming off a ACL injury. He tore in the SEC championship game there in Miami. He's progressing very well from what I hear right now. Jerick McKinnon at 1702. Darren, kind of talk about Jerick McKinnon here a little bit on that selection. All right, Darren's probably on his radio right now with Sirius XM radio that you can go check out when you get an opportunity to do so. They've also got the big board over there right now, so you can see how bad I am screwing this draft up as well as some of the other people here.
I'm gonna hop onto Sirius at 10 till the hour apparently. So if I do this, I hope to get back on. Are you gonna be here past 5 all the way to the end of the draft?
Oh yeah, we'll carry this out all the way to the draft.
Oh,
Even if
good.
I have to talk to
Then
myself.
I'll just no, I'll come back and we'll take this thing over the finish line.
Sneaky pick, Drew. I like it.
You know what? I'm just going to start hoarding tight ends here at this point now. I think my last 3 picks have been tight ends, so I'm just going to keep on hoarding all the tight ends possible. You're welcome there, Pierre.
It's my next pick. I had Davis Mills, and I had him in the queue, and he disappeared, so I knew exactly what happened.
So right now, this is not a typical draft for me. This is a tight end premium draft here. George Kittle, Hunter Henry, Tyler Higbee, and now Brevin Jordan. I have 4 tight ends on this roster. Hey, there's nothing better than tight ends, right? I mean, a premium.
Yeah, absolutely. Stack them
This
up.
is nothing like I would normally draft a team, by the way.
Yeah, I found myself scrapping a tight end last year, so having a couple extra, I'm sure you'll be happy you have them, unless you got one of the top guys.
Well, it depends on, like I said, it depends on how you feel about George Kittle. I mean, is he a top guy when he's on the field? Yes, he is. I mean, there's a lot of question marks with Kittle. I mean, if he's available, you're going to put him in your lineup one way or the other, whether you like it or not. So let's just give some of these other guys a shot here too. I mean, you could start all of these tight ends if you wanted to. After Brevin Jordan, Doug went with one of my favorite guys there, Marvin Jones, followed by Pierre reaching on Sterling Shepard. And Drew, you know how I feel about Sterling Shepard. So, I mean, I got him a lot cheaper than I've ever got him for.
I thought he had a connection with Daniel Jones last year before the hamstring issues. So, again, you took the tight end I was going to take. So, I feel like he's talented if he can stay on the field. Big year, obviously, for Daniel Jones and a new offense. So, taking a risk, taking a gamble here around 17.
And it's starting to look like we are looking at that round 16, round 17 as that time to take a gamble on some high upside players. We're seeing a few more rookies kind of come off the board, unless you're Calvin, who's been selecting rookies every round since round like 2. And then you've got, so basically George Pickens at 1708 to coach down there. Kyle Phillips, Matthew, you're on the clock. You got to come on here right now. Kyle Phillips, a guy I like coming out of the draft there, a talented wide receiver, 1709.
Yeah, coming out of UCLA, Kyle Phillips. I think if there's a guy in this draft, especially at this point at this point we're swinging for upside, right? If there's a guy in this draft, I think that can have that Hunter Renfrow type target share that can just go off at the NFL level. I think Kyle Phillips definitely has that career path. So getting him at 1709, I mean, I'm swinging for the fences here. I like Kyle Phillips' game. He was a monster down there at UCLA. Devy, college football is my game, so I feel comfortable banking on him to just blow up this season. So I definitely like Kyle Phillips here.
Well, look at the names ahead of him. We don't know how Treylon Burks is going to be used in Tennessee, right? We've seen him at Arkansas get lined up in the backfield. We've seen him kind of move all over the place. Robert Woods, another guy that they are likely going to move all over the place. We know Tennessee likes to run the ball. Robert Woods likes to block. You got Akeem Smith there. I mean, there is a path for Kyle Phillips to easily carve out an early role in this offense.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there is, and I think he's going to do it.
And then followed by that, it looks like Jonathan is addicted to love, Joshua Palmer style there, going at 1710. Hassan Haskins there at 1711 to Ray Flowers, who followed that up with A.J. Green, who's going to get some play early on in the season as DeAndre Hopkins kind of serves that 6-game suspension. We've seen A.J. Green get a little bit of run last year and perform pretty well in Hopkins' absence there. So now A.J. Green gets about 6 games of solid value here for Ray Flowers. Oh, Shane, continuing on with some good selections here. Josiah Dugara there out of Green Bay / fullback / tight end. He just came off the board at 1801. Terrace Marshall. Ray gets another good quality player there that has potential upside at 1802. And Jonathan, who is on the clock here at 1803. So are we seeing anything right now? Does anyone come to kind of point out a player, a selection here right now? They're like, oh, man, that was a good one. Or is there such a thing as even a reach at this point in the draft?
No,
I actually like DeGuara.
Get the guy that you think's gonna get the guy that you think's gonna do the most with the opportunity he's got. I think.
I kind of heard Degara's name going to get mentioned there by someone. Is that one?
Yeah, that was me. So you got to think that Tunyon's coming off an injury. Mercedes Lewis is like 50 years old himself. So if Tunyon's slow to get on the field, no Devontae Adams, Rogers has to throw to someone. Degara could definitely be a guy that steps into tight end. Rogers doesn't necessarily lean on tight end too much, but Degara could definitely be a steal if Tunyon's slow to recover here.
Guys, I'm going to ask you a question. I've been looking now for the last couple minutes for a particular guy that is a free agent, should be in here, and is not. I'll just throw that hint out there, but I can't find him. And
So I
he's
see
Jimmy GQ.
I see free agents, so I'm curious.
I'll keep looking, but I'm not having much luck.
So I'm gonna go the rookie
I'm gonna
route
hope
here.
He was in there earlier.
Well, Doug, if there's somebody you want, you can't find him. I feel like you should get him.
I saw him earlier.
Okay, I just found him. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think not being able to find him should.
We'll see. After my Ronald Jones experience, I'm happy with Spiller, but still, it's just that was.
I'm here hoping Coach Carroll's all coach speak, and they're not going to settle with Geno Smith or Drew Lock, and maybe they'll trade for Jimmy GQ here. So take a roll of the dice.
I think the Browns are a good fit for him. Now that Baker's gone, I know they're paying salary-wise, but I feel like he's more apt to maybe be traded to the Browns for a year than to Seattle within the division, but we'll see. I like it. I like Jimmy.
Win. I'll take it. I'll take anything here.
I thought they were talking about Julio. I didn't say the name because I was thinking him as well. But yeah, I saw him out there when you said free agent.
Yeah.
He was in my queue.
So is there a team you guys think he goes to? I know the Colts get thrown out because of Ryan. Packers, obviously, with no Adams there. But is there a team you feel Julio fits the mold for right now, looking at the roster?
I think there's a few different teams there. You mentioned the Colts. I think the Raiders are definitely a team that could use him as well there. A nice complementary piece. But don't discredit return to Atlanta. I mean, I think he would be a good fit there as well. You got Kyle Pitts already. You got Drake London. You can use Julio Jones as a bit of a mentor there to Drake London there moving forward. And he doesn't have to be that guy anymore. We've watched his yards per route run drop each of the last few seasons. I mean, he's not the guy he once was, but he's learned a few tricks of the trade along the way.
Yeah, it's a good call. I like it.
Love to see him go to my Cowboys. I remember when he was last a free agent for Tennessee, they saw him at an airport with a Dallas shirt on, and some rumors were speculating there. But, I mean, Tolbert's still, a question mark developing. I mean, he was the 15th, wide receiver in his class. James Washington, it's a bit of a roll of the dice. I mean, this is a team that's, I think, really missing Amari Cooper. So I'd love to see him come in there while, Tolbert's developing. And Gallup's still getting healthy.
The three spots I'm hoping for, well, not hoping for, the two spots I'm hoping for are Indy and Green Bay. The wild card, I think somebody mentioned, was the Falcons, going back to the Falcons.
Okay.
I mean, I think he's still got a lot he could offer a team right now. I mean, he's not going to get that big contract. You might get a couple million for a season. I don't think you're going to see a multi-year deal. I don't think you're going to see anything more than, say, $7 million in a single season for Julio Jones. And I think it has to be a team that's got some cap room to work with.
Yep, I think that's fair.
So we are now in 19th round here. I mentioned Alec Pierce, 1803, followed by, where do we go here? 1803. Quiz Watkins there at 1804. Jimmy Garoppolo, 1805. Trey McBride at 1806. The aforementioned there, Julio Jones at 1807. At 1808, we have another kicker off board in Justin Tucker. 1809, Kendrick Bourne. 1810, Drew Luck. 1811, Jacoby Brissett. 1812, Desmond Ridder. And to start off round number 19, Eric Romoff, he goes with Adam Troutman out of New Orleans as another option at the tight end position. And Darren follows that up with Matt Breida there in New York, the number 2 running back there for the Giants, because there is nothing behind Barkley in this Giants backfield. So there is potential for a big season for Breida if something were to happen to Barkley at any point. We got 1903 Calvin. He's talking to himself there, probably trying to talk himself into another rookie selection. So we'll wait to see what comes out of that. What do we got here? I mean, I don't know if anyone's had an opportunity to kind of look at some of these other rosters, some of these other constructions going on. If anyone has, is there a roster outside of your own that you kind of say, hey, you know what? That's a pretty good team going on right now. I know I haven't had a chance to take a look yet. But we are at that point in the draft here right now where you're really searching, really digging for any kind of value that you can find. Because it's all dried up at every single position. Tight end, quarterback, running back is really ugly. Wide receiver. I mean, how many kickers can you roster at once? I mean, that's what's probably going to come down to at this point. And there is a kicker off the board after Logan Thomas was selected at 1903, pardon me. We have Drew kind of going with Tyler Bass out of Buffalo, getting himself that kicker. And you know what I'm going to do? Just because I'm at the point where I'm just having fun in this draft here right now, I'm going to take my second kicker just because I like to do what I'm doing.
Kicker run.
I'm going to go. When I'm looking at these kickers, I want to get kickers that are on good offenses, but not great offenses. I think there's some really good offenses still here. I think New England has a good offense, but not a great offense. So I'm going to go with Nick Folk here at 1905. That gives me my second kicker. And if you guys are going to leave him, I'll take a third kicker. Don't you worry about that.
He was really good last year. Folk was really good.
The points for the position here, and when you look at value-based drafting, if you look at some of these kickers, the kicker 2, kicker 3, they were scoring as many points as the RB2, the top 24 running backs. There is value in the kicker position.
There is.
I'm back from my media availability. You know, there's a lot of media requests right now, so I did my radio hits like you professionals do. So I'm back, and I want to call out which one of you son of a guns took Hassan Haskins from me while I was away.
That definitely wasn't me, but
oh man, I thought I could. I assumed I could get him in the last round, but I was going to go ahead and take him at 18. You scared me talking about the screws in his foot, in Henry's foot, so I was going to grab him, but no such luck. So I had to pivot to somebody I think reach for Haskins, but we'll see. He could be good if my team, crumbles.
if you're looking for someone who's selected a rookie, it's either Calvin or Debbie Matt who've selected him. I mean, that's kind of how it's basically gone. I know Coach Danny's got a couple in there as well, but I mean, the first people I look at are going to be Calvin and Debbie Matt as far as rookies are.
Well, I'm not going to go that way with this time. I'm going to go ahead and get my insurance for Christian Iron Glass McCaffrey. And,
oh, very nice. Oh, Beckham, very nice too.
Oh.
Hey, you know what? I got to applaud. I mean, anytime I see a fellow Canadian, whether it's Josh Palmer, Chuba Hubbard, come off the board, hey, I'm all for that life. Just not on my team. Jonathan, you're back up here at 1910.
Thank you, man.
Did you say that you were getting your insurance for your McCaffrey or my McCaffrey?
I'm getting the insurance for your McCaffrey. We're going to talk to Scott about trades later on in the season.
Gotcha. And I'll need it.
Well, if you're looking for tight ends or kickers, right here, because I'm loading up on both those positions. My flex is going to look absolutely.
Calvin's going to start waxing us later on in the season.
Yeah, about week 8 when those rookies really start to take off, we're in trouble.
I was getting a little nervous around that kicker run there. There's a few I was targeting.
Well, we just seen Chuba Hubbard come off the board, Isaiah McKenzie come off the board, Damian Williams there again. We don't know how that Atlanta backfield is going to break down. Is it going to be Cordell Patterson? Do they split him out to running back, wide receiver? Where is he going to actually play? He's got the running back designation for 2022. Then you got Damian Williams. You got Tyler Algier there. I think it's a wide open competition for who gets those touches.
Also,
Shane's back on here.
I just went searching. Somebody already has CMC's handcuff. It's not going to be Chuba Hubbard. They must have taken him a while ago.
I did.
Yeah, Foreman went earlier.
Yeah, it's going to be Foreman.
It'll be interesting because Chuba's actually on their official depth chart. It shows Chuba currently at the RB2. We'll see how that plays out with training camp.
Well, I would trust them over me. I Chuba just didn't. We were all after him on the waiver wire last year, and whatever you spent on him, you didn't end up getting what you paid for there. And I always liked Dante Foreman. He had the injury, but he was real good before that, and I feel like he's always shown out when he got the chance.
He looked really good last year.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I can't find Keyshawn Vaughn. Is he available?
Try searching last name first. That's what I had to do with Julio.
I'm just joking, man. I was trying to be funny. I see it worked really well.
I chuckled.
Cox.
Thanks for the pity chuckle. Appreciate it.
Mo, big Mo. There you go.
Oh, Jonathan, you good guy.
Man, that's what you
Friend
like to
divine.
hear when you draft. A bunch of groans. I haven't had nearly enough groans today when I picked, so thank you for that.
Mo was going to be my last tight end.
Same here.
All right, let's regroup. It was Mo Alley Cox or bust. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Bust.
I mean, I got some guy named Alvin Kamara who's apparently going to sit for the next year and a half, and so I don't know what I'm doing.
I feel like the tape is going to come out and it's going to force their hands.
It totally could, and that's what I've been saying. That's a huge wild card, but I'd swing for the fences.
It's a shame that you have to see it for the that it exists, but the public pressure would be what would move them to suspend him. But
yeah, unfortunately, we'll see. I'm not overly bullish, but hey,
he really fell. Whoever got Kamara got him way on down there, though. So that's
who was that lucky SFB?
That could be a great pick.
Anyone in legal trouble right now is on Drew Davenport's lineup right now.
On brand, right?
Those are my people. I hang out with them every day.
I feel like it's insider trading going on there when we're looking at fantasy football and legal.
Yeah, I called him up. I talked to his legal team.
I don't know, Matt. Going back to your question from earlier, I think Ray Flowers is building a really good team right now. I just got a chance to look at his roster. I like what he's doing.
I know every time I see him make a selection, I'm like, oh, that's the guy I wanted. So I don't even want to look at his team right now because I know right now it's going to look pretty darn good.
That's who took Haskins. So I agree.
Yeah, I'm liking how this is turning out overall for me. I was like,
is that right?
It was definitely like I was planning on taking rookies. It was more than even I was planning on taking, but like most of my picks I feel like I'm happy with. Although I will say the Logan Thomas pick, I got a phone call, non-serious phone call, and was like 6 seconds left when I noticed I was on the clock. That was an utter panic pick right there. But other than that, I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, hey guys, I got to shove off here. I will make my last 2 impact picks. That was another good one. So, hey, thank you, Matt, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And guys, good luck. This is one heck of a league. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, brother. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on.
Take care.
Pleasure, Drew.
All right, catch you later, Drew.
See you guys.
See you in Canton.
Oh, can't wait, buddy.
All right, yeah, like you said, we are in the finishing the last few picks here of the 20th round right now. We've watched guys like Tyler Conklin kind of go at 1912, Ryan Suck up there at 2001, Ryan Pringle, Ray Flowers, another special there. I love Pringle at 2002, Mo Alley Cox 2003, Matt Gay at 2004, Trey Sermon 2005, Jason Sanders 2006, Eno Benjamin 2007, Curtis Samuels at 2008, Van Jefferson at 2009, Rodrigo Blankenship at 2010. Dang it, Darren. Fantasy Mojo gets himself some Jalen Tolbert there at 2011. Good value there. And we're on 2012 with Eric Romoff once again with the double pick here and conclude the 20th round and start the 21st round off. And now I have officially looked at Ray Flowers' lineup, and it makes me want to curl up in the fetal position. Lavisco Chenault, good value there at 2012. I mean, you're talking about another guy who had a lot of targets. I know Christian Kirk is there. I know Marvin Jones is still there. I mean, this Jaguars team, they've kind of done some things up front there with that offensive line. They've got themselves some solid running backs. I mean, this could be a good offense there, and I think they could support Lavisca Chenault. If you're looking at a guy in the 21st round, 20th round, I mean, there is value for your flex play there. You're looking for a guy that you could possibly insert into your flex, and Chenault kind of fits that bill, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, we were all picking him 15 rounds higher last year. So he's got the talent.
It'll
Eric's
be
pick was
interesting how
exactly,
that court. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying Eric's pick was exactly where I was going there if it fell back to me.
Yeah, I mean that Jags receiving core, like you don't know how it's going to play out. I know they paid a lot of money to Kirk. I personally don't think he's that good. They got Marvin Jones there. They didn't trade him. Some people thought Chenault would get traded, but he's still there, and he's a weapon. So if they can get him involved now with Doug Peterson, maybe gets him in better positions, better opportunities, it could definitely be a value down here in 21st round we're going in.
Some other names kind of off the board here after Chenault was Velus Jones Jr. there, another good value pick there, good swing for the fence type guy. Wan'Dale Robinson, another guy I really like as well. I think he's going to be used in very intriguing type ways in that Dable offense there, 2102. Brandon McManus, 2103. Drew made that impact the selection there of Dearness Johnson at 2104. Oh, crap, I'm on the clock with 40 seconds left. Good thing I pay attention to what's going on around me.
Yeah, it's great to be, in a room like this, you're still getting sniped in the 21st, 22nd.
Yeah.
You got my guy, you son of a gun. Like, for instance, I had Sammy Watkins right up there at the top and Dearness Johnson. So
I just needed Sammy Watkins for week one. That's the only reason I selected him. So I know I got one good week of Sammy Watkins.
Auto start.
That's a virtual
Auto,
lock.
Absolutely.
110 and 3 touchdowns right out of the gate. And that's it.
So I'm literally just adding names here now on my work list here, just to see
Right.
if any of them even fall back. And if any of them fall back, that'll probably be the selection for the 22nd round. Let's be honest with it.
Right, for sure.
Like when you're starting to go through the list here, and it's now in alphabetical order, not by ADP or by predictions, you've reached
Right.
that portion of the draft.
You guys can come back. You guys can come back and laugh at me here in a couple months. I think John Smith's got a chance this year. I think that New England cutting their fullback is going to allow Smith more time on the field. You see some articles about how I guess he really struggled with the playbook last year. I'm not saying he's where he was last year. He was going about 10th round last year, maybe in most regular drafts. I think John Smith has a chance this year. I'm not saying he's going to be Hunter Henry, but I think he's got a chance.
I think he's had a chance for like 4 or 5 straight years. Folks thought it was going to happen in Tennessee, and folks thought it was going to happen last year. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
I know the Ravens offense isn't. The Ravens' offense isn't going to be what it once was. I mean, they're not going to be that pass-heavy team that they were last year. There's a lot of vacated targets between Marquise Hollywood Brown and his 139. I think Sammy Watkins had another 44 targets, which is about 43 more than he probably should get. So Devin Duvernay here in the 21st round, that's an absolute pick I absolutely love right now. We're just concluding the 21st round here. We're at 2012 here with Shane, who's going to take us home here.
I grabbed Will Fuller there. Just, dice roll. Does he end up in Green Bay or somewhere? Give us a couple of big games.
That's a homer pick right there. Gardner Minshew is heading to Team Shane Manila here in the 21st round. I mean, you probably could have saved that for the 22nd round, but kudos to him taking him in the 21st.
Minshew mania.
How deep are you guys getting on this list right now when you're looking at players to add to your lineup?
Well, pretty deep.
All the way down.
Well, pretty deep.
I thought we were going 10 rounds today and doing the rest offline, so that gives you a pretty good idea with where I'm at.
I thought the same thing. I was vastly unprepared for this.
Oh, that son of a gun. Khalil Shakir, great pick there. I like that. If anything happens to any of the other guys there, he's the one, he's going to step in. I'm on the clock. I'm going to complete my KJ stack. Get both KJs.
And that's how you win this league, Jonathan, right
That's
there.
right. It's initials.
You go with the initials. Yes.
AJs, KJs, DJs. I missed out on the first two, but I finished strong.
Hey, boys, you know what they say? They say speed kills.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah,
I
he
thought
was the
John
fake.
Ross
He was
gonna
like the
make
fake.
another appearance.
He was like the fake record time for the 40 that then got like taken down by like a tenth of a second or something. Remember that?
Speed kills. We're banking on speed there.
I was crossing my fingers for my last pick here, man. This is like my boy here, especially in Dynasty. But
All
starting
right.
tight end, I think there's a lot of upside. Give me some Tommy Tremble, man. I could sleep well tonight in round 22 with this pick.
There you go.
I want one tight end who's still on here and
So-
nobody else. So I'm hoping he gets back. And
I'm
he's
gonna
pretty
go
bad,
with
too.
tight end. It's probably not yours, but boots on the ground here in Indianapolis. I know Allie Cox went, but I actually think their pick last year is going to be the one that steps in. So I'm taking Kylan Granson.
That's a
here
good
for
pick.
the
That was
Colts
not the
here.
one I was thinking of, but that is a good pick.
Do you think he ends up in the kind of the Trey Burton role this year?
I do. Mo Alley Cox is better as a blocker. And you look at, they use him in the red zone, but they actually drafted Granson to be that Burton role. They do a lot of 12 personnel. So I feel like Jelani Woods and those rookies are still going to be making their way, whereas Granson now another year, in the system. I really like him as their pass catching tight end, quote unquote.
There's some deeper dynasty leagues, like my tight end position might be a little thinner. I'm loading up those Colts tight end, just trying to get through. Sometimes all three of them. I mean, like that
Coin flip, man. It's a
Jelani
coin
Woods
flip.
is a freak. Like his future is bright.
Oh, yeah. He's huge.
So as we're just kind of concluding here now, we've watched guys from Teddy Bridgewater, KJ Hamler, great selection. Tyquan Thornton there, you guys talked about his speed. Tommy Tremble, Kylan Granson, Randall Cobb, Brian Edwards, Foster Moreau, CJ Uzama, great value there, 22-10. I just kind of want to go through some of these lineups here that I've kind of already completed here. With Shane picking out of the 101 spot. Taysom Hill is a guy I was definitely looking at in my last selection there as well. Rob Gronkowski is the final selection of the Metropolis division here. Now, some quick highlights here. Shane Manila picking out a 101. Kyler Murray, Mark Andrews, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Travis Etienne, Zach Wilson, Marquise Hollywood Brown, Drake London, Christian Kirk, James Cook, Garrett Wilson, Michael Gallup, Daryl Henderson there, Noah Fant, Kenny Pickett, Mark Ingram, A.J. Green, Josiah DeGuerra there, Tyler Conklin, Ryan Suckup, Gardner Minshew, and Khalil Shakir there, the former Boise State Bronco there heading to Buffalo. You guys kind of mentioned there Ray Flowers' team here a little bit earlier. I mean, what a start. Josh Allen, Kyle Pitts, Javonte Williams, Matt Ryan, Josh Jacobs, Cortland Sutton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Ken Walker, Chase Claypool, Mike Gesicki there, Melvin Gordon, Damian Pierce, Mecole Hardman, Jarvis Landry, Kenyon Drake, Jamal Williams, Hassan Haskins, Terrace Marshall, Damian Williams, Brian Pringle, Samaje P. Ryan, and Teddy Bridgewater to finish off the draft for him. The only fan in our draft, and probably the best-looking guy of us all here, Jonathan went with Patrick Mahomes, Derek Five Screw Henry, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Jones, Ezekiel Elliott, Rashad Bateman, DK Metcalf, Darnell Mooney, Jameis Winston. So you can see that Jonathan kind of went with a late second-round quarterback like I did. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, Irv Smith Jr., Tim Patrick, Albert Owigbottom, Albert O for short there, because I don't know, no matter how many times I say his name, I'm never getting it right. Rashad White, Nico Collins, KJ Osborne, Josh Palmer, Alec Pierce, Isaiah McKenzie, Bo Ellie Cox, Will Fuller there, and KJ Hamler. That's out of the 103 spot. Out of 104, Debbie Matt there, Matthew Jackson, Justin Herbert, Austin Eckler, Nick Chubb, Deebo Samuel, Deontay Johnson, McCorkle Jones, Chris Godwin, Pat Fryermuth there, Hunter Renfro, Tony Pollard, Corey Davis, Cameron Brate, Kenneth Gainwell, DJ Chark, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Malik Willis, Kyle Phillips, Quez Watkins, Chuba Hubbard, Matt Gay, Jalen Guyton, and Tyquan there, Thornton. 105, Coach Dan there goes with Joe Burrow, Najee Harris, Tua Tagovailoa, there, Tyreek Hill, Cam Akers, Gabriel Davis, Miles Sanders, Jerry Jeudy, Dawson Knox, Devontae Smith, Brendan Ayuk, Michael Carter, Tyler Boyd, Devontae Parker, Gerald Everett, Hayden Hurst, George Pickens, Jimmy Garoppolo, Daniel Carlson, Trey Sermon, Devin Duvernay, Tommy Tremble. Where are we at here now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pick 106, Pierre Wilson there at Pee Wee 31. Jonathan Taylor, Kirk Cousins, CeeDee Lamb, Stephon Diggs, Jalen Waddle, TJ Hawkinson, AJ Dillon, Allen Robinson, Davis Mills, Carson Wentz, Chase Edmonds, Chris Olave, Marlon Mack, Naeem Hines, Evan Ingram, Paris Campbell, Sterling Shepard, Trey McBride, Odell Beckham Jr., Jason Sanders, David Bell, and Kylan Granson. Doug Orth there picking out a 107. Christian McCaffrey, Matthew Stafford, Trey Lance, Leonard Fournette, Michael Pittman, Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz, Damian Harris, Elijah Moore, Kadarius Toney, Cordero Patterson, Isaiah Spiller, Tyler Algier, Mitchell Trubisky, Gus Edwards, Dante Foreman, Marvin Jones, Julio Jones, Harrison Butker, Eno Benjamin, Jonu Smith, and Randall Cobb. At 108, Matt Donnelly, Lamar Jackson, Cooper Kupp, DeAndre Swift, Keenan Allen, George Kittle, Brandon Cooks, Antonio Gibson, Baker Mayfield, Rashad Penny, Daniel Jones, Tyler Lockett, James Robinson, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Henry, Zamir White, Tyler Higbee, Brevin Jordan, Justin Tucker, Nick Folk, Curtis Samuel, Sammy Watkins, and Brian Edwards. At 109, I'm going to go through them all here. We got Drew Davenport, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Darren Waller, Ryan Tannehill, Dallas Goedert, Adam Thielen, Amari Cooper. What else do we got here? Kareem Hunt, Alan Lazard, Deshaun Watson, Darrell Williams, Robbie Anderson, Jamison Crowder, Sony Michel, Austin Hooper, Kendrick Bourne, Tyler Bass, Van Jefferson, Dearness Johnson, and Foster Moreau. At 110, yes, Calvin, Tom Brady, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams, James Conner, David Montgomery, Breece Hall, Dalton Schultz, Treylon Burks, Michael Thomas, Christian Watson, Sky Moore, Kenny Golladay, Ronald Jones, Brian Robinson, Jahan Dotson, Robert Tonyan, Geno Smith, Drew Lock, Logan Thomas, Rodrigo Blankenship there, Brandon McManus, CJ Uzama, and the rest of the 2023 rookie class.
Okay, hon.
At 111, Fantasy Mojo, Russell Wilson, Travis Kelce, Delvin Cook, Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Mike Williams, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Russell Gage, Devin Singletary, DeAndre Hopkins, possible league winner there that late, Alexander Madison, Rondell Moore, Khalil Herbert, Tyron Davis-Price, Evan McPherson, Jerick McKinnon, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Breida, Jalen Tolbert, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Taysom Hill. And finally, from Dr. Roto there, Eric Romoff, Dak Prescott, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. Oh, what a wide receiver combination to have there at the 2-3 spot. Justin Fields, T. Higgins, J.K. Dobbins, Elijah Mitchell, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ramondre Stevenson, Robert Woods, Cole Kmet, David Njoku, Marcus Mariota, Jameson Williams, J.D. McKissick, Raheem Mostert, John Michie, Desmond Ridder, Adam Troutman, Laviska Shenault, Velus Jones, and Rob Gronkowski. Those who are still left here on the stream, any of those rosters stand out? Any selections just absolutely pop to you right off the get-go that you can recall? Coach Dan, what are your first thoughts?
I'm still soaking it all in here. This is a very competitive draft. You know, like they say, Scott Fishbowl doesn't go like any of your mock drafts there. You know, I got sniped at Jamar Chase. I'm a little bit jealous there. I mean, I should say I got sniped. I was really just fingers crossed hoping he would slide to me. But just great draft by everybody, man. This was very competitive and a blast.
Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, man, just overall, I think this is going to be a super competitive league. I mean, you guys all killed it. I definitely think the Ray Flowers team is definitely looking like one of the teams to beat. DeAndre Hopkins, I think the value you're getting there is super good. But I mean, this is going to be a competitive league. I'm looking forward to it.
John, as the one fan here with now the fanciest camera setup now possible. Man, did he change his camera halfway through? Like last time I looked up, it was like iPhone.
I had to move. I had some traffic in the background that I needed to switch it. Now you're just looking at a corner. We'll bring in a plant here. Yeah. I felt good. You know, to be honest, I was nervous as heck right off the bat. And it just took me a minute. I've never done a draft on MFL before, a live draft, so I wasn't quite used to the mechanisms of it. But once I got used to it and settled in a bit, I felt great about it. The structure is more or less what I was aiming at. Some of the players are a little different than I thought I was going to get. But, if things, like everybody, if things break right, I like my team, and I'm going to hustle on the waiver wire all season long. It's been great to put faces with names, and so when we're in the chat, it's really going to mean something and good to make a connection with all you guys.
Hey, Doug, what's your thoughts here on how the draft went for you?
Yeah, I remember thinking. I made the comment before about the Kings Classic guys, but I know Darren's draft, especially early in the draft, stood out to me. I think he needs some things to go well for him. We all do, obviously, but I wouldn't want my RB2 to be Devin Singletary, for example, in this league. But I remember thinking those first 4 or 5 picks, like, wow, he really nailed it. But I'll just echo what you guys are saying. This is going to be tough. It's going to be a tough one.
I mean, maybe more than most drafts going on right now, that waiver wire is going to be important. I mean, and that's where the trick comes down to, because I think with everyone here being as studious as they are, they're going to be paying attention to that waiver wire. It's going to come down to how you spend that money, when you're willing to spend that money. And is that going to be week 1? Or are you the guy who's going to spend it all for that guy who's going to break out week 1? That has worked in the past. It's also kind of blown up on people in the past. I think that happened to me last year with one of the players Marcus Callaway. I think I used a good portion of my blind bidding on him last year. Backfired, but I've seen guys go and get Elijah Mitchell week 1 and blow their fab. So, I mean, it's all worked out well both ways. Or you're that guy who saves it till the very end. That is going to be the interesting part for me to see how that all shakes out. Calvin, what are your thoughts here on this draft, in more particular for yourself?
Absolutely. I was happy with how it went. Overall, I think having Dalvin Cook taken away from me in round 3 forced me into like kind of a middle round RB strategy that I wasn't too comfortable with, and then it ended up going fine because I really like Connor and Hall. I feel like that's 2 top 20 guys with who both really have top 12 upside. David Montgomery as well. He's a solid player. So looking at that, I felt pretty much I felt like I felt in control for most of the draft. My strategy was working out pretty well. Only times I didn't were that Logan Thomas pick and telling me that saying they were surprised that Geno Smith went over Drew Lock on the radio. And then I realized I didn't know Drew Lock was still in Seattle. But yeah, other than that, went great. Great to talk to you guys, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that was the fun part of the whole thing. Is I think some of us were in and out on the Sirius XM radio kind of broadcast there a while. So you're on the phone, you're making those talks, you're still trying to follow the draft on the computer screen. I know I timed out once when I was trying to click on a certain player. I ended up getting James Robinson out of the deal when it was all said and done. Pierre, how do you feel?
It was stressful early. I didn't think quarterback would go as quickly as they did. I know it did in some mocks, but I didn't plan for that. But I still like my team. I feel like I got a competitive roster. Not to suck up to the co-host, but I really like your team, Matt. The Lamar Jackson, really solid quarterback. You got Kupp and Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift and Gibson, plus Kittle at tight end. So I really like your build. But as everyone's kind of echoed, we're loaded. And that was the downside of this draft when you have all analysts and then a fan, Jonathan, who knew his stuff and, sniped me a few times. There's not a lot of room for error. When you're drafting with folks that know what they're doing. And so good luck to all you gents. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be competitive for sure. Thanks for letting me be a part of this, and just looking forward to competing throughout this Scott Fish Bowl season.
Yeah, a major shout out to Scott Fish for putting this on every year. Ryan McDowell as well. I mean, Sal there in the Podathon. I know he had a bunch of help this year. Like Mike was helping him out there. Dave was helping him on the back side of things. I mean, there's a lot that goes into all this and doing a lot of this for charity here, Toys for Tots, and the various other charities throughout the entire Scott Fish Bowl. I know a lot of these other live drafts, they had different charities that they were working with. We had the Thurman Thomas one going on in Buffalo. We had a diabetes one down in Disney. I mean, there's a lot of different leagues that are doing different things for charity. I think that's the most important thing when we look at this. You kind of mentioned my draft there. I mean, it was just about the value. I mean, how I thought the draft was going to go didn't go anything like how I would hope it would have been. I mean, I talked to Mike Florio there about my draft strategy. I wanted to get 2 quarterbacks the first 2 or 3 rounds. That did not happen. Then I'm staring down the barrel of Baker Mayfield in the 8th, 9th, 10th round, whatever that was, and then having to go with Daniel Jones as another potential backup quarterback there. So, I mean, a lot of us, I think, had plans, but I think a lot of us knew right off the get-go that any plan that we had going into this, we could forget about it, especially with all the great minds that were all set into this whole draft this year. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming on the show here, talking about it. I think it was a lot more fun doing it this way, kind of seeing each other's reactions as we're drafting, rather than just your typical model there where we sit at our computer, stare at a blank screen, and hope for the best. So again, thanks to everyone here. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing plays out when it's all said and done. And hey, see you guys on the backside here because, I mean, we got a long season ahead of us. And hey, this is the last month without football, so gear up. Football season is officially back on. See you next time.
Thanks,
Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
Good luck,
Thank
y'all.
you.
Keep in touch.
Same thing.
All right, well, we got
Good
our
luck,
chat
guys.
room there. We can just keep nailing Mike Florio for maybe some signed 8x10 photos of himself there and see how that works out for each and every one of us.
Just take care.
All right,
good
guys.
one,
Thanks
all.
a
See you
lot.
guys.
Bye now.